Good morning, everybody. What's going on? Dan Kasper Show is on the air. Radio dials, you got two of those babies, 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Also available online at sportstalk1051.com where you can stream it or get the YouTube video link. We also got the Facebook and Twitter link. Google and Alexa home devices, Sports Talk app. Y'all know the drill. But happy Wednesday as we are making the turn on this week. Appreciate you making us a part of your start on this Wednesday morning here. And holy moly, do we got a couple things, at least a couple things to step up or to talk about here this morning. A lot of Badger stuff again. Badger hoops getting a big victory last night against the 13th ranked Maryland Terrapins, 64-59 for the Badgers, getting it done in front of their home crowd. So big win for the Badgers. Early signature win, resume building win there. Badgers, even though they shot just 7 of 21 from 3, defense able to get it done there and pick up a big win. So we're going to hit that up. But in case you missed it overnight, about second half of that game too, Jimmy Leonard going on Twitter announcing that he will not be returning to Wisconsin. He will remain the defensive coordinator through the bowl game, but after that, he will not stay with Wisconsin. So what was originally reported by the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel over the weekend that Jimmy Leonard would stay, wrong. Completely wrong. Not true. Ain't going to happen. Right from the horse's mouth. So Jimmy Leonard on Twitter saying, it has meant the world to me to be able to pour my heart and soul into the UW football program over the last 7 years. After discussions with my family and Coach Fickle, I will remain the defensive coordinator through the bowl game, but no longer be part of the staff after the conclusion of the 2022 season. It has been an honor to coach these young men, and thank you to all the fans who supported us along the way on Wisconsin. So there you have it. Now, what's next, right? What's next for Jimmy Leonard? I don't know if he even knows at this point. Maybe a different college program? Does he make the jump to the NFL? I don't know. I know there's a lot of Packers fans or Packers/Badger fans out there that were already, after Fickle was announced, clamoring for Jimmy to be the new defense coordinator for Green Bay. He turned it down a couple years ago. But my question then to you, to those of you who do want to see Jimmy Leonard as the defensive coordinator for your Green Bay Packers, why? Why? Just as simple as that. If it's because, hey, you like the thought of Jimmy Leonard, he's a Wisconsin guy, Badger, former NFL player, just say that. If you think he could do a good job, all right, explain why. I guess what I'm getting at is, let's say if you have the choice between Jimmy Leonard, who hasn't coordinated the defense at the NFL level, compared to somebody who has successfully coordinated a defense throughout his entire career in the NFL, like a Vic Fangio, or if you want a defensive-minded NFL guy like a Flores, why would you want Jimmy Leonard over somebody like that? Somebody who has a track record of coordinating successful defenses. There's no right or wrong answer. I'm just curious. Like if you are like your number one pick for your Packers defensive coordinator is Jimmy Leonard over the likes of maybe somebody who has a proven track record in the NFL. Why? I'm just curious. Curious to know your reasons. Maybe it's just because you think it's a cool story, or maybe you think it'd just be awesome. That's fine. That's fine. That's your thoughts. That's your opinion. Maybe you think you like the potential. You like the potential. Hey, let's hear it. Or maybe you're like, no, I'd rather have a more proven coordinator at this point in the game. I'm kind of curious to get everybody's response. Again, no right or wrong answer. I'm just really curious to get what everybody thinks. So let me know. Okay, hit me up with a tweet at DANKASPER, Facebook.com/Kasper Sports. Or you can hit us up with a text on the Shoe Doctors bullpen line, 715-830-1912. Perhaps some good news, though, actually, for the Badger football program at this point. It sounds like Braylon Allen's sticking around. Sounds like the running back's going to be hanging around here, at least for another year. He had tweeted saying, update, sources tell me Braylon Allen is a Wisconsin Badger. There you go. So it sounds like at least Braylon Allen is sticking around and he's going to be with the Badgers. I feel like he's just going to play one more year. You factor in the age, you factor in the position that he plays. I think one more year, he enters the NFL draft. I said it before, and I'll continue to say this. It's going to be really fun to see how Braylon Allen is going to project in the NFL, like how high teams will view him because of his age, because he's younger. He is a bigger running back. But because he is so young, and he's already going to be entering his third year in college football, I feel like he's only going to be playing one more year because I feel like teams are going to be like, we get a running back at his age. Yeah, sign us up. We'll be for that. That's what I think, at least. Could be wrong, but I think it's going to be kind of fun to watch the draft process for him when it gets to that point. But first things first, good news for Badgers fans. It sounds like he's going to be back with the ball club for at least one more year. So we'll hit that up. I'm kind of borrow this question too. I saw Jason Wilde, who covers the Packers. Somebody had tweeted him this question. He thought it was a really good question. And at first, I thought it was kind of a good question too. And I might borrow it. Air quotes, borrow it. You know what I mean? So, but somebody had asked him, is it more important for these final four games when it comes to the Packers? Is it more important to get Jordan Love reps, or is it more important for Aaron Rodgers to get more reps with Watson and Dobbs? Now, you could go about it a couple of different ways, right? Obviously, if you were in the camp of you'd still rather see Jordan Love get reps, you're going to pick Jordan Love. You could go about it, I mean, a bunch of different ways here. You really can. I mean, if you have that personal preference of like, I'd just rather see Jordan Love, you're going to pick Jordan Love. But what do you think is more important in these last four games? Getting more reps with the younger wide receivers. We don't know if he'll be back, but if he is going to be back, he's probably not going to be, at the mini camp too often, maybe for a day or two like he was this past offseason. So knowing that, is it more important to get him these reps in actual game situations? And, he ain't going to play in the preseason. And honestly, Dobbs and Watson might not even play in the preseason next year, especially if they're going to be 1-2 or, top wide receivers. So looking at that, is that why it's more important for those guys to get reps in these final four games together? Or, again, back to Jordan Love. Obviously, the big unknown in this whole thing is, the decision at quarterback, but we don't know that. I don't think they know that. Like, who's going to be the starting quarterback for 2023? So we're all kind of going into this like shrugging your shoulders. But what would you do if you had the magic wand and you can do whatever? Or what do you think is the most important thing? Getting reps with Aaron with those youngsters, knowing that they probably won't have preseason or minicamp to do it? Or is it getting Jordan Love those actual game reps? Regular season game reps. Think about that one for a little bit. Think about that for a little bit. Okay. Kind of curious to get your thoughts on that one too. So, recap it. I got a couple questions out to you this morning. One, if you are one of those that really wants Jimmy Leonard as defensive coordinator for the Packers over, say, somebody who has a proven track record of coordinating defenses in the NFL, why? I'll be honest. Again, no right or wrong answer. And then the second question, what do you think is most important with these final 4 games? We got a bye week this week, but with that final quarter coming up here, I know they're still in the playoff hunt, but, the final 4, what do you think is more important? Rodgers getting reps with his 2 young wide receivers. It sounds like Dobbs is going to be back for that Rams game, or getting Jordan Love regular season reps. Those are your 2 questions for this morning. Bucks are back in action tonight as well. Quick stop at home before they're back on the road on Friday night for a late game against the Mavericks. But they'll be home tonight taking on the Sacramento Kings, 7 o'clock tip time. So we'll talk a little hoops as we get to that as well. Other stuff on the docket, we'll do another edition of Showdown. We'll get to a good vibe story a little bit later on. We got stock reports. Whose stock is rising? Whose stock is falling, in your opinion? You can play along with us again. You know the drill. Tweet it, Facebook it, text it, TikTok it, Instagram it, YouTube it. It don't matter. Email it, whatever floats your boat, okay? Whose stock is rising? Whose stock is falling? So, but hey, we got lots to catch up on here this morning, right? So let's get at it. Pitter patter, let's get at her. Opening drive. We're going to talk some Badgers and such. Badger hoops. Big dub last night against Maryland. Big win. Early signature win for the Badger basketball team. Are they, again, overlooked, underrated from everybody on the outside? Remember, preseason predictions had them towards the bottom of the conference. You had some national pundits saying, don't sleep on the Badgers. They always get picked at the bottom, and then they always finish in the top half. Yet, if that's the case, why do these national pundits always pick them to go at the bottom, for crying out loud? Why do they always do it? I don't know. Ask them. But got Iowa coming up on Sunday. Then they don't get back to Big Ten action until January 3rd when they take on Minnesota. I mean, they got Western Michigan and Grambling State mixed in there too, but it's a quick start to the Big Ten schedule with this Maryland win and then Iowa coming up on the 11th this Sunday. But your early impressions, the first 9 games of the season, your early impressions of this Wisconsin team. We've seen some mixed bag, right? Beating Stanford by 10, kind of squeaking out against Green Bay, shooting woes, squeaking it out against Dayton in the holiday tournament by 1, and Dayton was ranked before the season started. OT lost to Kansas, comes back and beats USC, loses to Wake Forest in the Big Ten ACC Challenge. OT win against Marquette this past weekend, and now beating 13th ranked Maryland. Your first impressions of this Badger basketball team? They a top 4 team in the Big Ten Conference, in your opinion? Got Maryland in there. Got Illinois in there that's ranked. Indiana's ranked. Ohio State's at the back end ranked. Guess you can never count out Michigan State and such. Purdue, top 4 team in the country. Do you think Wisconsin's the top 4, top 5 team, Big Ten Conference? So we'll hit that up. Plus the 2 questions I threw out to you with the Jimmy Leonard and the Packers for what do you think is more important here? Rodgers getting reps for the younger guys or Jordan Love getting these reps. So let's get at it. All right, opening drive. Quick break, and we'll get things rolling here this morning. Give me your answers on those 2 questions, all right? I'm really curious to get your thoughts. All right. We'll be back after these quick words. As you heard, Murph, just there, it is day one, Festival of Toys as well. So you can find out some more info by visiting aroundthe715.com or just hit up sportstalk1051.com and we got the link in the banner up there as well. But we've got donation boxes available at all three festival food stores there. You can also donate a financial donation online too at aroundthe715.com. You got the button over there too. So day one, Festival of Toys going on right now. Okay, let's get things rolling here this morning on the opening drive. Let's chat a little hoops. Badger hoops. Big dub last night, huh? Big W last night. 7-2 on the season, picking up that win against Maryland, 13th ranked Maryland. What have been your overall first impressions of this Badger basketball team? All right. What have been your overall impressions, your early impressions? It's still, obviously just kind of beginning the season, just started the Big Ten portion of their schedule last night. But when you look at it, I thought this was a good quote from Maryland last night. It kind of sums up maybe the style of Wisconsin basketball. So Kevin Willard, okay, the head coach in Maryland, had this to say after the game. We have a lot of guys that are kind of going through this the first time that haven't played the Wisconsins. You could show film and you could talk to them about it, but I think until you kind of experience it and go through it a little bit, their physicality, even on the offensive end, caught us by surprise. That's a good little, that's a nice little shout out right there. Till you haven't played the Wisconsins. I like that. Badgers, though, they opened up that 58-45 lead with a 13-point run with about just under 4 minutes left in the game. And they did hang on towards the end. They struggled a little bit at the free throw line, just making 15 of 25 free throws in the second half and no field goals over that final 4 minutes there. But I think there's one thing that when you look at in these first 9 games, and Greg Gard kind of alluded to it after the game too, Badgers do tend to make it a little bit difficult on themselves at certain points. They tend to make it a little bit harder on themselves. Closing it out, making it some of these games a little bit closer than what they have, or in the case, like Wake Forest, not getting the job done. That's probably one thing that kind of pops up to me is they tend to make it a little bit harder on themselves in the first 9 games. Now, whether that could help pay dividends as the season progresses and you get into your deeper part of the Big Ten schedule where you're just kind of grinding out these wins, and in the Big Ten it's going to be grinded out kind of W's and it gets the tournament. I don't know, maybe, possibly. But you look at the last 6 games for this Badger Hoops team too. They've been decided by 5 points or fewer. And you got the 2 losses in that span against Kansas, 1-point loss in OT on that last second putback. And then the 78-75 loss to Wake Forest. I mean, they've been grinding out some of these games, and a lot of these games have gone down the wire for Wisconsin. So those, close games going down the wire, making it a little bit difficult, but you look at this Badger team, a little bit of inexperience. Yes, Chucky Hepburn played a lot as a true freshman last year. Tyler Wall played some last year. Looks to be maybe the most consistent-ish type player. Stephen Kroll got some experience last year, but still fairly young. And maybe as the season progresses, they can close out these games a little bit better or a little bit more comfortable, if you will. And not so on the edge of your seat, kind of stressing out and pulling your hair out there a little bit. But maybe on the positive side of things, it's like, all right, maybe, This will help them down the stretch. This will help them as they get into that Big Ten portion of schedule because it's going to be physical. It's going to be grinded out type of games. Or maybe this is just Wisconsin basketball. With that score last night, Greg Gard was donning the good old throwback to Coach Dick Bennett with the red sweater vest there. Well, 64-59 victory, holding Maryland to just 59 points. I think Dick Bennett would give you a big old Barry Alvarez thumbs up. But nonetheless, signature win early in the season for this Badger Hoops team. Do you think this Badger Hoops team is a top 5 team in the Big West, or in the Big Ten? You got Purdue up there. Maryland's up there. Ohio State was ranked 25th. Illinois. You got these Big Ten teams that are ranked, Wisconsin not. Maybe that'll change after this week. As long as Wisconsin can take care of business against Iowa, maybe they will jump up into the rankings here with that signature win. Iowa's going to be a tough test, though, because if you looked at the latest rankings, Ohio State was 25th, but Iowa would have been 26th. So, yeah, that's going to be a tough game. Was coming off of a loss. Duke. Wisconsin, for what it's worth, got 16 votes in the others receiving categories in the latest voting, by the way. But I wouldn't count them out. I mean, how many times? How many freaking times has Wisconsin done this? People pick them at the bottom. They're not the flashiest team in the conference. They're not the flashiest team in college basketball, but they get it done. And is that a credit? I think that's got to be a credit to Greg Gard, right? That's got to be a credit to Greg Gard. For as much, kind of like flack he's gotten ever since he's been the head coach, it's been up and down in waves, right? People love him. People don't like him. People want him gone. People are like, okay, yeah, you deserve to stick around here a little bit. It's been up and down. I get it. But got to give credit to Greg Gard for how this team performs and kind of goes over expectations, right? Or is that not enough? Or is it not enough? Purdue's obviously going to be the favorite to win the Big Ten this year. They are the favorite. I'm kind of looking at their schedule. Their toughest game right now. They got Hofstra coming up. That's actually tonight. Nebraska, Davidson, New Orleans. They don't play. Then they get Rutgers on the second. They don't play like Ohio State until January 5th. I'm looking at like ranked opponents here. When do they play Wisconsin? So Purdue and Wisconsin, they don't. Okay, they did play. All right, I'll give them. Yeah, Purdue. They did go through a stretch where they beat Gonzaga and Duke and that, and fairly comfortably too. I mean, they look pretty darn good here. But they don't play Wisconsin until it looks like second to last game of the year is March. Oh, all right. Interesting. Would not surprise me, though, if the Badgers finished in the top 5 in the Big Ten. I think they will. I think it's going to be, Purdue up there. Maryland's probably still going to finish in the top 5 at some point. Illinois, I know they got the big win, but they always kind of, they got that win over number 2 Texas. I mean, that's a big win. Yeah, I'd probably pick them to go in there. Probably got Wisconsin around that 5 mark. Number 5. They'll kind of grind it out. They'll kind of sneak up on teams and just do that typical Wisconsin thing. So, what do you think, though? You can let me know with your thoughts on this Badger Hoops team. Sticking with the Badgers, but moving to the football side of things, Jimmy Leonard will not be returning. Well, he'll coordinate the defense for the bowl game. So, I know there was some thoughts out there like, how is this coaching staff going to look for the bowl game against OK State? Who's going to be the head coach? What kind of role is Luke Fickell going to have? If you look at Jimmy Leonard's tweets and his post where he said that he will stay as defensive coordinator through the bowl game, kind of makes you look like, okay, Luke Fickell is going to be the main man on the sidelines for the bowl game. It sure seems like he'll be the main man in charge, and Jimmy will be coordinating the defense on the sideline there. So, but he won't be returning to the program after the bowl game. So, at least for now, his tenure with the Badgers going to be in the books, going to be over with. So, what's next for Jimmy Leonard? What's next for Jimmy Leonard at this point in his career? I don't think he knows. We don't know. Is it the NFL? Is it coordinating another defense at the college level? Could he get some looks at as a head coach at another college football program? I think it's all on the table at this point. I think Jimmy's going to have some options. It'll just be up to him at this point what he wants to do and what he decides, what he wants to do for the next step in his career. Does he want to take that leap into the NFL? You might have some options there. Maybe it is Green Bay. We're just kind of all assuming that Joe Barry's going to be let go. That he's not going to be with this ball club next year. And I think we have to maybe be a little careful. I'm one of those too. I'm guilty of it. I'm assuming he's not going to be back. But maybe we need to be a little bit careful on that. Manny might stay with him. Manny LaFleur might stick with him, and it might be a whole, McCarthy, Dom Capers sort of thing again. Granted, Joe Barry hasn't been around as long as Dom Capers was with Green Bay as defensive coordinator. Still, you get the idea. You know where I'm going at with that. But, we just got to be careful with that. But, as soon as Jimmy was, or as soon as it was announced that Luke Fickell was going to be that coach, you had Packers fans clamoring for Jimmy Leonard to be in Green Bay. So my question to a lot of you is, if you are one that wants Jimmy Leonard as defensive coordinator for Green Bay, why? Is it because you just simply like the story? You like Jimmy, you're a fan of him and that? You think he's done a good job? He was a smart player in the NFL? That's great. But then if I ask you, why would you choose him over somebody who is has a proven track record of coordinating successful defenses in the NFL, why would you still pick Jimmy over that? Because I think this is, and I think you got to factor this into it too. I don't want to try to give the impression that I would be upset if Jimmy Leonard would be the defense coordinator. He's not personally my first pick for Green Bay. He's not my first pick. But I wouldn't be like pounding the table and punching walls if they ended up hiring him. But I feel like, though, too, part of me almost wants Matt LaFleur. I mean, this is going to be his third defensive coordinator, okay? It's going to be his third defensive coordinator. When he got hired, he inherited Mike Pettine. Then he hires Joe Barry. Third defensive coordinator already in his young career. He's a younger coach. Would it be beneficial to him? Would it be beneficial to this team to maybe almost take the safe route and bring in that proven coordinator like a Vic Fangio, maybe a Brian Flores? I know some Packers fans have talked about Mike Zimmer. I can't see that one happening because you'd really have to overhaul your entire defense and switching it up. You're talking about 3-4 to 4-3. But there's a part of me like because let's face it, if you're bringing in Jimmy Leonard, that's not a guarantee that it's going to be a great hire. It's not. He doesn't have any experience coordinating at the NFL level. He's got some experience at the college level, but he doesn't have a ton. He doesn't have any experience at the NFL level. If this was not Jim Leonard, but he's got the same resume, same exact resume, but switch that name to, Joe Brown from South Carolina or something like that. Same story, same resume. Would you be okay with that hire, Packers fans? Would you be okay if Matt LaFleur hired this Joe Brown from South Carolina who's got the same exact story, same resume? What would your reaction be? What would your thoughts be? And I get it. Jimmy Leonard, coaches, players, teammates have praised him and all that sort of stuff. But at this particular time, at this juncture with this Packers team, with a team that has what we think has a lot of talented players on the defense that haven't played up to their expectations, do you want a coach who has that proven track record of coordinating those successful defenses, or do you go out there and maybe take bring in a guy like Jimmy Leonard and hope for that the sky's the limit, the arrow's trending upward. You're kind of buying into the future there. Let me know. I'm really curious. And maybe you're just like straight up, I like the story. I like Jimmy Leonard. I want to see it happen. That's fine. Let me know. Let me know. Okay. All right. And then don't forget the other question I got for you too is what's more important in these last 4 games? Aaron getting reps with his younger wide receivers or Jordan Love getting reps in these final 4 games too? What do you think is more important at this point in time? Kind of like, and there's a little bit of unknown factor into this too. I think if we all knew that if Aaron was coming back for sure next year, I think that's an easy question then, right? It's probably an easy question, easy answer. But it's a little bit of an unknown. So which one do you prefer? We'll take a quick break. We'll finish up this first hour after these few words. Okay, I think there's maybe a little miscommunication going on here. With the Jimmy Leonard question I'm throwing out there, I'm not asking to compare Jimmy Leonard to Joe Barry. Okay, that's not the question. I'm asking. Let's assume Joe Barry's gone, people. Okay, so don't compare Jimmy Leonard to Joe Barry. Compare Jimmy Leonard to other guys that would be available, like a Vic Fangio, like a Brian Flores, or somebody else out there. Guys who actually have proven track records. Remember, I keep saying proven track records. Joe Barry don't have a proven track record. Are you kidding me? So don't compare Jimmy Leonard to Joe Barry. That's not the question. Let's assume Joe Barry's gone, and you have your choice of a Jimmy Leonard compared to a Vic Fangio, a Brian Flores, or somebody else out there who has proven track records. You know, like Vic Fangio. Chicago, instant change. Denver, instant change. San Francisco, instant change. Brian Flores would be a little bit different. He was, the quote unquote defensive coordinator for New England. But I always get nervous with those New England coordinators over there, and how much say do they actually have, and how much input do they actually have? So don't compare it to Leonard and Joe Barry. Compare it to Jim Leonard and the other free agent. I get not really free agent because I think Vic Fangio's with a team right now. Just blanking off the top of my Philly, I think it is. I think he's with Philly or something like that. So that's the question. Not Leonard compared to Joe Barry. Leonard compared to somebody who actually has a proven track record, okay? Proven track record. So, all right. And remember, too, we've had like a Rex Ryan system with Mike Patton, right? Rex Ryan spoke glowingly of Mike Patton. That work out? No. Or was it the players? You could go a bunch of different routes with this thing. Joe Barry was supposed to bring in a style similar to Vic Fangio. Is it the system? Is it the play callers? You can go a bunch of different routes with this whole thing. Honestly, you could. So, we'll get back to. I'll check out the text coming. More text coming up a little bit later on here. So, the other question too I'm looking for is more important at this point with these last 4 games, in your opinion. Aaron getting reps with the younger wideouts, Watson and Dobbs for these last 4 games, or Jordan Love getting actual game reps. Goody in his presser, we kind of talked about it yesterday, a little back and forth. He feels like he's already proven that he's a starter in this league, but in order to learn to win, got to play some games. So, all right, we got 4 games left. They're still, mathematically, they're still in it. What do you think is more important these last 4? Aaron developing that connection with those younger wideouts, but we don't know if he'll be back, or Jordan Love getting game reps, maybe just to get him an experience, or maybe you're thinking too that, hey, let's boost up some trade value, or maybe you're afraid, no, that would lower the trade value. Depending on how you feel, I guess, about one Jordan Love at this point in time. So, but think about that for a little bit and hit me up. Hit me up with a text, okay? 715-830-1912. We're gonna get we got some Bucks hoops tonight, taking on Sacramento day after Giannis's birthday. Hopefully Giannis had a good birthday yesterday. We played that little sound clip. Maybe he got a little freaky, as he said. But quick home stop against the Kings, as the Bucks will be looking for their 18th win of the season. Then they're back on the road as they take on Dallas for a late Friday game. This is just the second of a total of 5 home games for the Bucks tonight. The Kings are on the road against Dallas Friday. They're staying in the state of Texas as they take on the Rockets on Sunday. Then they're back home again quickly next Tuesday against the Golden State Warriors, then on the road against Memphis. That Memphis one should be a lot of fun. John Moran going up against the Greek Freak and Giannis and such. So this should be a fun little entertaining game there. But first things first, when you look at this this Sacramento Kings team here, they're fourth right now in the standings in the Western Conference. They're getting the job done right. I mean, they're playing some good basketball to begin the season. 13-9. You know, for the longest time, kind of a little bit of a laughing stock there. Haven't been able to win a lot of games, but Mike Brown, head coach over there for the Kings, doing a nice job right now. Got to give them credit. They're coming off of a win against the Bulls the other night. They're on a 3-game winning streak. They beat the Clippers. They beat the Pacers too. So might be a little bit of a tough test here. Not necessarily a pushover type of game that maybe we've kind of become accustomed to in the last couple of years here. So when you look at the Kings here, you got Fox over there who's leading the team in scoring. Sabonis getting it done down low, leading the team in rebounds and assists. Sabonis. Get a nice little flashback of those Portland Trailblazer days with his dad over there too. So, but again, that tip-off is going to be at 7 o'clock. You can catch the game here on the radio dials of 105.1 FM and 790 AM. Coverage will begin about a half hour beforehand, about 6:30 tonight. So, got to imagine that'll probably be a nice little matchup between Fox and Drew Holiday. Gotta imagine Drew Holiday will get that assignment to try to slow down the youngster from Kentucky. So, oh, perfect timing. What's up, Morgs?
Hey, how's it going, Kasper?
Good. How about you?
Repping the Jordan today.
Yeah, Jordan hoodie.
I haven't seen you in a Jordan hoodie. Siggy was watching old Jordan footage because basketball season now. She's got weekends, so now she's been watching the old footage. So
she's a Jordan fan?
She's a Jordan fan, and my niece, my middle niece, who is like ball is life, lives, breathes basketball, watches old Bucks tapes. She's a Giannis fan.
Okay.
So she's got that, and it's basketball all the time around these parts lately, it seems.
Yeah.
So definitely. I got a Medford
so what number
connection.
Is she? Oh, you got a Medford. Okay.
I do. Well, Siggy's 19 and everything.
Okay.
That's her number.
All right.
But my niece, 23.
All right.
Yeah.
There you go.
She snatched that up before anybody else could get their hands on
it.
Oh, yeah. She's ball handler from way back. Medford connection to Madison. Do you know what it is?
No.
So they lit the holiday tree in Madison.
Okay.
Okay. The theme this year, Waters of Wisconsin, big ceremony, Governor Evers, Capitol. Ooh, drum roll. Tree is lit. It's from Myers Castle Tree Farm in Medford.
Castle Tree.
You know where that is in Medford?
Is that, if it's Castle, I wonder if that's Castle Road, maybe?
Well, it's a local connection. I thought of you because that's where the tree came from this year. So a little something to chest thump there for your Medford peeps.
I know of one tree farm over there. It's Handles, which that's the one I know of. But
no, you guys are real tree people, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. Do you have it yet?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, we usually get it during deer season.
Oh, you're early and often. Mm-hmm. So this tree is a 30-foot balsam fir from the Medford area. So.
That's right. It is on Castle Road.
There you go. Okay, making Medford proud today.
No, Castle Road well.
So. How about that?
Yeah.
Did you also want to dig into a little Wednesday wild card here?
Yeah, let's
Can make that happen for you. But did you hear, though, the CBS Sports and Nickelodeon quick? Just they're teaming up to air the NFL Nickmas games on Christmas. Did you hear about this?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. SpongeBob SquarePants will also offer live commentary from Bikini Bottom. I'm just saying, as I shuffle here for the Wednesday wildcard, that's something to look into if you want to make a collision.
I will say that actually worked because Hudson does enjoy it when it's on Nickelodeon, those games.
Okay.
Because he likes the slime and all that stuff.
It's the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
It's a little cartoon, little slime action, little SpongeBob.
Real,
all right.
Yeah.
We're sending Kasper into the Wednesday wildcard pile today, so you get to answer this. What makes you angrier than it should?
Ooh.
You can think, and I'll give you mine while you're turning it around in your mind. I don't know why, but for some reason, and I'm not a road rage person. I'm like, whatever. If you need to get there that fast, go.
Yeah.
People that turn slowly. Like, are you afraid you're going to tip over? What is the deal with slow turners? That for some reason I have like an irrational anger response to people that turn exceptionally slow.
It's especially when it's that area over by the mall and Kohl's, that turn onto the ramp. Don't stop. You just go.
You get it.
Yeah,
You
just
get
keep
it.
going, people, for crying, especially this time of year when it's already backed up.
Yeah.
Keep going.
So, other than that, what makes you angrier than it should?
Social media, probably. I let it get to me a little bit.
You should just turn it off.
I want
then.
to so bad.
I'll show you how. It's easy. I do
want
it
to.
all the time.
But you know
Click.
me, I gotta
Nope.
be up to
Nope.
date on stuff.
Nope. Let it go. It's gonna go with or without you. Just let it go. Treat it like the fast lane by Coles. Just get on there and drive right by. You don't
I
need to.
should.
Don't get all clogged up in the social sewer media pipe. Nothing like that.
I
You just
should.
preserve your sanity. Give yourself a break. And guess what? When you come back,
It'll still be there.
It'll still be there, and
Yeah.
it's still gonna stank, just like it does when you left.
Yeah, that's true.
Mhm.
All right, thanks, Margs.
Little piece of advice here for you.
Thanks. All right, second hour kicking off on this Making a Turn Wednesday. Don't forget stock reports are due, so you can send those babies on over with a quick text, tweet, Facebook, comment on the YouTube stream, whatever you want to do, all right? Whose stock is rising, whose stock is falling. Your 2 years, or the 2 years that we're going to be doing for a little bit of a showdown coming up in an hour from now. We're going to do a 1981 versus 2000. So 1981 versus 2000. So we'll get to that coming up just past 8 o'clock or so. Before we do a little sports nuggets of the day, here's your sound clip of the day. Last night's game was a little bit delayed, by the way, in case you weren't watching it at halftime between the Badgers and the Terrapins.
Bit of a delay, as you see, they were working on the rim. We had a basket malfunction. Bango from the Bucks ripped it down during the half. I mean, literally.
Bango, the mascot, annihilating the rim at the Kohl Center. Maybe a little bit of, trying to get some revenge with that Marquette loss over the weekend. I don't know, but that's your. It took them a while to figure that thing out, but that's your sound clip of the day. Bucks mascot Bango wrecking the rim at the Kohl Center last night. All right, your sports nuggets of the day here this morning. 1939, Lou Gehrig was elected to the baseball's Hall of Fame. He was the first player to have the rule waived that required a player to be retired 1 year before he could be elected. We've got CBS introduced the first ever instant replay during the Army-Navy football game in 1963. We've got 1988, the Texas Rangers signed free agent pitcher Nolan Ryan to a 1-year deal. Those are just some of your quick sports nuggets of the day, brought to you by ANSI Insurance. Speaking of baseball, we got a little bit more movement, some more rumors over there. I think a lot of Yankees fans might have had a heart attack, or even Giants fans might have had a heart attack for a few seconds yesterday if you were paying attention to Twitter. I don't know if you saw this, Luke, but John Hyman had tweeted out that Judge was going to go with the Giants, and then he deleted it and said, "My bad. Giants haven't been talking to Judge, or they haven't talked to him recently. Sorry for jumping the gun." You can't do that.
The way I saw it actually was like way later when I logged into my regular Luke Anthony Twitter account. I mainly follow sports. And so, of course, you know how the home, if you log in, it defaults usually to home. So it's like the collection of the highest profile tweets. And it's all these apology tweets at the top. I'm like, wait, what was going on yesterday? It's like everyone's all discombobulated about wrong news. I'm like, well, great.
Yeah.
Okay. So in fact, I think it may have led either with the Hyman tweet or within like the top 2 or 3 was the sorry. Oh gosh, we got to go through this now.
Kind of pulled a little sorry, man, but I got to say it because he's, as RJ pointed out yesterday, he's been wrong a couple times as of late. A little Jeff Patrikas with the Badger football program.
Yeah.
Here a little
Yeah,
bit.
that was the other one I saw, the Patrikas apology tweet.
Yeah.
Gosh.
So, yeah. But that's why I always double check, right? I feel like the Aaron Judge one, that's kind of a big thing, too.
Well, right.
You know, and then you follow up saying, yeah, actually, the Giants haven't heard from Aaron Judge.
I mean, I know it's sourcing is not the easiest thing to do, but still, how do you get that wrong?
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, Yankees fans probably had heart attacks, and Giants fans were probably like getting ready to like celebrate and pop bottles of champagne and beer and all that stuff. So
it might still happen too.
It might still happen too. But the report, according to there's MLB.com, that the Giants ramped up their pursuit for the star slugger, offering him $360 million. 360 right now. Were you surprised that the Phillies went and got, or not the Phillies got Trey Turner, but the Padres actually offered Trey Turner more?
Oh boy. Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, so you got Manny Machado, you got Fernando Tatis Jr. I know he's going to miss a couple games here and there, but then you were going to offer over $300 million to Trey Turner. That's one hell of an expensive infield.
They want to win. I mean,
So who plays short?
Let's see. So
maybe you go the old softball approach and have a 5-man infield.
Oh gosh, because Tatis had been playing short. Now he's going to get moved to the outfield. That's been the oft speculation is when he comes back. The Padres want to keep his health intact, and it's not going to happen being a shortstop, especially now that shortstop is going to require more of a defensive premium. He's going to have to be more involved in reaching for the ball, diving for the ball. Now that he can't just shift over and just stand there and get the ball in a shift, no. They're going to move him to the outfield. They're probably going to move him to the outfield even if they don't get one of these shortstops. I think they're going to get someone. If they're offering this amount of money, they're not going to end up with some so-so free agents. No. Someone big is going to San Diego. It could be Aaron Judge.
I was going to say there's like a lot of talks like, okay, if they're offering Trey Turner all that money, don't necessarily rule out the fact that they maybe make a run at Judge now.
That speculation is out there. Like informed speculation is out there. Now, whether that's to the point of Aaron Judge going, I want to go there, that's another story. But you have to consider the possibility of Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis Jr. in one lineup.
Yeah,
and they got to the LCS last year without Tatis and without fill in the blank of that other big bat. You know, Padres and sorry, I have to go local here, but Padres and Brewers, similar franchises. They're from smaller markets. They have been around for the exact same number of years. One team is spending like mad because they want to get a World Series, and the other is, we'll see what happens.
Speaking of the Brewers here, Matt Arnold there was talking a little bit with the MLB Network the other day. Excuse me, and he pretty much declared that Corbin Burns, Brandon Woodruff, and Willie Adames were off limits in trade talks. Quote, we get phone calls on these guys all the time, and that's a great thing. I think the fact you're getting calls on your good players is really exciting. That being said, this is a group we're excited about. We want to put a really good product on the field in 2023, and those guys have to be a part of that if we're going to do that. So, again, things could easily change at this point. So you never know.
To a certain extent, I would not expect him to be like I think Mark Atanasio got a little ahead, and usually you don't want to come right out and be like, yeah, we're not going to spend money. We're going to try to cut costs anywhere we can. Then again, owners are going to be a little different than GMs. I don't expect a general manager to come right out and say, yeah, everything's on the table. Whoa, okay. Then like alarm bells go off. Though I think he would like he's also looking at this from building a baseball team perspective. He would rather keep Corbin Burns and Brandon Woodruff. They're very good pitchers. Mark Atanasio, though, has got to pay bills. He's going to be in charge of the money. And if he says save money, well, owner speaks more than anyone else. So what can you do? But right now, okay, well, we'll see. I know Burns' name was bounced around as he was in ESPN Plus had their speculation 8 transactions we want to see, and one of them was on what would you do with Corbin Burns, and then it's like send him to the Mets, send him to one other. I can't remember which one. So it's out there, the notion of them going in the near future, but I don't know. But there are a lot of dominoes that have not yet fallen either that aren't necessarily related to pitching, all the shortstops and everything. But it's not over yet. We'll see what comes in.
Right. So, Cubbies are spending a little bit now, though, but they got Bellinger on a 1-year deal, the former MVP.
Jameson Taillon now is going there. They got some other guys. Yeah.
I know Brandon said Friday he thought maybe because I posed a question to him, what's one team that maybe will surprise some people in some spending, and he kind of picked the Cubbies, and Brandon's been 3 for 3 so far.
What were his other picks?
I asked him Friday, where's Jacob deGrom going to sign? He said Texas. Friday night, he signed with Texas. And then I asked, who's the starting right fielder for the Brewers? Is it one of the youngsters or somebody that's not on the team? And he said somebody that's not on the team. And then lo and behold, we had a trade with the Colton Wong going to the Seattle Mariners.
The Oracle, Brandon Berg.
Yeah, so he's 3 for 3 right now. Dude knows his baseball.
I need to tweet him. And to tweet him, like, make a prediction today. Just go. Something.
Right? So,
he
for sure let me know on Friday night when those dropped and he got a hold of me.
Okay.
So, yeah, he's well aware.
MLB insider Brandon Berg.
So, but no, he hit it out of the ballpark on those. So, a lot of money being thrown out there right now, and no big surprise with winter meetings going on. What's been the biggest, maybe the biggest shocking deal, or the one deal that made you go, wow?
I almost want to say Verlander, but I think the Mets were more of a possibility than maybe I realized.
Especially with DeGrom not going back there.
I think 11 years for Trey Turner. I mean, he's just about in his 30s. 11 years. The Phillies are locking in players for a long time with big contracts, bringing in people over the past few years. I mean, hey, they got within a couple games of winning the World Series, so
they're trying to compete with the Mets in terms of spending and trying to keep up there.
You could make the case right now that they're the best team in the National League East, which is really saying something considering the Braves arguably are probably the most consistently good team. But 11 years, that is a lot of commitment. That surprised me a bit. Actually, the most surprising move was the Padres offer.
Yeah.
I know that didn't result in anything, but that's the biggest surprising. That I didn't think they were going to be offering that much money and be like, all right, so we're in this. So someone is not going to get Xander Bogaerts, Carlos Correa, or Dansby Swanson of those, or Aaron Judge. I was doing the 3 shortstops, but also Judge. So someone between the Dodgers, the Braves, the Red Sox, the Giants, and the Padres. 5 teams, 4 players. Who doesn't get one? And now there might be a team there that doesn't mind. Like, I could see the Dodgers being like, okay, well, we have an operating philosophy and we don't necessarily need any of these folks. And I think they're going to be okay. Some of the others, though, I think maybe the Braves can get around it. The Padres want someone. The Giants are looking to spend. My gosh, what's going on with Boston? I don't know.
Nobody wants to go to Boston.
Why? Well, Boston doesn't want to bring anyone there. They're more concerned with their other investments, I guess. Come on.
Yeah.
Why should I be crying for the Red Sox?
I was going to say that shouldn't matter for you.
Won a bunch of World Series, whatever.
But what did you think of the inaugural draft lottery last night?
Okay.
Because your Twinnies actually moved up, didn't they?
Like 1 year of the lottery for the Twins, they've already had like way better luck than the Timberwolves pretty much ever had in the lottery.
Yeah.
Seriously, 1 year and you jumped from, what was it, like 13th to 6th?
Yeah.
My gosh. And I know baseball.
The draft is different. We don't know all these guys, but still,
it's tougher. I think the profiles have been going up in recent years, but still, I'll take it. Like, I'm not used to lottery luck like that. What just happened?
Do you like, though, that MLB has this draft lottery?
Yeah, I think so. Considering tanking has been such a problem in baseball, especially. It helps to discourage it. It's not going to completely get rid of tanking. Again, for some of the reasons we were just saying about the nature of draft picks, that they can be buried in the minors forever and disappear. And we see that happen all the time. But if you have an issue with teams trying to lose, if it's for the purpose of a draft pick, a lot of it is just for the purpose of saving money. But if it's for the purpose of a draft pick, well, this disincentivizes this. Well, hey, the A's, for the first time in forever, essentially tanked. My God, have avoided that forever. I think they were in a situation they kind of had to, and they fell. It didn't work out.
Yep. Brewers didn't improve. I mean, they got 18th.
They had the worst chance of moving up. But I mean, I understand that.
Yeah. So
it's like one of those years when like they would have had to pull like what the Magic did that 1 year.
Yep.
Barely missed the playoffs and then jumped up to number 1. I mean, the odds of that are still really low.
When they got Weber.
Yeah.
And traded for Penny.
Yeah, that year. 93 was just like, what is going on? Well, I mean, it worked out, but
yeah. So, speaking of lotteries, I know Sean Payton the other day said on The Herd that he thinks at some point the NFL is going to move to a lottery system in the NFL. And he thinks like Caleb Williams, so the quarterback from USC, he thinks that's a player that could possibly force the NFL to do it. Quote, I think he's a generational player at some point, especially with the relationship our league has in gaming now. We're going to move to a lottery system in the NFL. This is a player that possibly does that.
It's tougher for NFL teams to tank because there are fewer games overall. You can't kind of quietly not play your starters for like a bunch of games and no one's really caring because you're the like, think of like the worst years of the Sacramento Kings or the Houston Rockets, or in baseball, the Pirates or A's, where basically your team doesn't matter. No one is talking about it outside of the diehards. Football is so big, even the worst of the worst still gets like a segment on the Bill Simmons podcast. That's one of the most listened podcasts. So if you're tanking, you will be talked about that you're tanking. And you've got a lot of committed fans that will be upset about you. Now, of course, those fans may also be like, hey, but we're going to get Caleb Williams. It all depends on the nature of the talent.
But, you know, would it really derail tanking, though? Because, I mean, if you still, quote, tank, you improve your chances of, you know, the odds. Breaking news, by the way, not to switch it. Aaron Judge going to the Yankees. Ken Rosenthal just tweeted it.
Wait. Okay, so this...
Yeah. Aaron Judge in agreement with the Yankees, 9 years, $360 million first. John Morosi was first. Ken Rosenthal confirming. So there you go.
This is the breaking news music there. Okay, you heard it. You heard it here first.
I got so many hotkeys. There we go. A little delayed reaction there.
Breaking news music after the news.
Yep. So, breath of relief for Yankees. Sorry, Twins fans, but you got to deal with Aaron Judge.
You know, actually, I'm actually not that upset about that. I don't know how. Look, I was a skeptic on Aaron Judge this year. I didn't know that his health was going to hold out, and it did.
Mm-hmm. So $40 million a year he gets. He gets that $40 million a year.
You know what? Even as a Twins fan, as a baseball fan, I'm glad to see him stay.
Okay.
Leaving I would think you'd have to have a really good reason beyond the money to be comfortable with leaving.
Mm-hmm.
If it's just the Giants or the Padres throwing, like, I'm just making up a number, like $600 million for 10 years, make you a $60 million. Again, I'm going way extreme here. Though if we're having this conversation in 6 years, it probably is going to be a 10-year, $600 million contract being thrown around. Then that's what we don't like about free agency. This, okay, fine. You're staying with the team that drafted you. You're staying with the team that made you a star.
You just broke a record.
Yeah, I like that as a baseball fan. And sure, as a Twins fan, yeah, that kind of sucks for the near term. But I also don't think Aaron Judge is going to be that good in a few years. I don't think his body's going to hold up.
We always kind of put these players, like, it's always good stories like, oh, that guy stayed with one team throughout his whole career.
Yes.
It's almost like, how do you want to describe it? Not a notch on their belt, but like adds to their legacy a little bit. It seems like Kobe, stayed with the Lakers the whole time. Maybe Aaron Rodgers. Tim Duncan stayed with the Spurs the whole time. Derek Jeter stayed with the Yankees the whole time. You got those players.
Yes.
I don't count Jordan and the Wizards. I'm sorry. That just doesn't.
No,
I think that's what hurts LeBron a little bit in some people's eyes.
That he's jumping for championships. That he left
Cavs, Heat, Cavs,
he basically
Lakers.
Once.
Do we all think he's going to retire with the Lakers?
No.
Yeah. So.
He goes where he can win championships. That's the ultimate example of a free agent. I mean, at least
that's what we're hoping Giannis will do, is stay with the Bucks the whole time.
Right.
So
and in LeBron's defense, at least if he's going to be a free agent, he's going for the best opportunity to win. Now, there's a bit of a glomming on situation there, but he's also the best guy. So he's going to situations where he knows he has to contribute. He's not trying to just grab a ring as a backup. But this is better. He's never going to get traded. If he does, it's going to be, again, like a very, very, very end of the group. No, that's not going to happen. Aaron Judge will be a Yankee for life. I'll amend that.
They'll have to retire another number now over there. So 99. Might as well start making the plaque.
at least now we don't have single-digit numbers.
Yeah, they're running out of that though. That's the thing. Do they even have any left? I don't think they do.
Nah, they're. I think they're almost out. I can't remember exactly who's retired. So this is where I go back to my thing of maybe I get it for the Yankees. Don't retire numbers. Like make it like an honored number that if you're getting this, you have to be a prestigious.
Kind of
player.
like what the Cowboys do with 88, or what's
Yeah.
the Michigan one?
I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember the number.
Yeah,
but something
Is it
like
2?
that. Yeah, something like
Yeah.
that. Because otherwise you run out of numbers. Aren't the Bears like running into that pretty soon? They've retired so many. Well, they've been around so long.
Yeah, there's no more single digits left for the for the Yankees. In fact, Yogi Berra and Bill Dickey are both retired. They both wore 8.
I mean, if we're okay with triple-digit numbers, then I guess you can keep retiring because once you break into 100, well, then you've necessarily got after 100, you now have 899 more numbers to go. And when are we going to get to that point of having 1,000 numbers to deal with? Well, that's going to be centuries from now.
Hey, trivia. Who's number 1 for the Yankees retired?
The number one?
The person, yeah. Who's
I suck with uniform numbers. Who is it?
You are a uniform guy.
I'm a uniform. I'm a design guy. I'm terrible with the numbers.
Billy Martin.
That still is a little surprising.
Yeah. Number 2, you should know.
Derek Cheetah.
Yep. Number 3, you should know.
Oh, that's DiMaggio.
No, that's Babe Ruth.
Oh yeah.
Number 4, you should know.
Is that DiMaggio?
No, that's Lou Gehrig.
Mantle is 5.
No, that's DiMaggio.
Okay.
Mickey Mantle 7.
Okay.
Joe Torre 6. I just told you 8. Yogi Berra and Bill Dickey. Number 9 is Roger Maris.
Okay.
So, yeah. We're not gonna do that anymore with you. Just
don't. Yeah. That is my bug.
That didn't work out.
I am not good at that. No. I could barely tell you the Packer retired numbers, and I mean barely. Some of them I will get wrong.
Oh boy.
No, I can even picture looking at the facade of the game a few weeks ago.
14, 15, 66, 92.
15 is Star, 4 is Favre. What were the other ones?
3.
Tony Canadeo.
Good job. 14.
Hudson.
I was gonna say, if you don't get this one now,
I just had to ring my bell a little bit.
66.
Nitschke.
Yep, 92.
White.
Yes. There you go.
And eventually 12.
Yep. 12 will be the next one. Mm-hmm. So, and then the whole, it's retired but not officially is 5. That whole thing. Yep. And then 1. Do you know what 1 is?
Isn't that Lombardi or the fans? Or
Nope,
Lambeau.
Yep.
That's who it is. Yeah. Yep. Wait a minute. Yeah.
Supposed to be Lambeau. So,
Lambeau.
I know that you kind of redeemed yourself there a little bit. So
you live around here long enough that just seeps into your brain at a certain point.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So
it's a good thing.
All right. Let's take a quick break, and we'll get back to a little bit more football talk and some Badger talk too. So, but you got the years right, 81 and 2000.
81 and 2000.
Yep, 19-year difference there. What year were you born?
78. So
okay,
I remember,
so
81 is a little dicier to remember, more music than anything. 2000, well, we both remember that year.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's going to be a fun music year.
Oh
my gosh. Peak teen pop. Oh, boy.
Yes. All right. Quick break, and then we'll be back after these words. Everyone's decorating for the holidays. Most of us, except for maybe a couple of your neighbors who like Ebenezer Scrooge out there. Anyways, many of us are decorating our homes with fancy lights, big trees, and just making our homes look magical this time of year. But when this season is all said and done, and it's back to normal in your home, no fancy decor, unless maybe you do celebrate Christmas all year long. But what we're getting at here is when we tuck away all those decorations until next year, your home's going to look a little less magical. That's because you haven't updated that flooring of yours in like forever. We'll change that. Don't make your home look magical for 1 month out of the year. Make it look special every single day with that new floor from Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire. From carpet, tile to luxury vinyl planks, Carpet City Flooring Center has many different options for you to choose from to help make your home look amazing every single day of the year. Come on, spoil yourself this holiday season, people. Finally get that new floor that you've been wanting for a while now. Stop on over to Carpet City Flooring Center and get started today. All right. Let's we got a few texts to catch up on here this morning. G-Man must be a big Bango fan from the Bucks there. Says Bango, yes sir, yes sir. Stock Rising from Adrock. Stock Rising. He's going to go with Connor Esijan, Badger basketball hoopster. We've got Stock Falling. Odell Beckham Jr. knee not healing per Cowboys. I did see Pro Football Talk tweet that. Isn't it interesting that, or they pointed out, interesting that, you know, he makes a visit to the Bills and the Giants. You don't see or hear any leaks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cowboys, he goes to the game, goes to the Mavericks game, and then you're hearing leaks about a knee. Cowboys playing a little media game there, like trying to get people to get out of the sweepstakes of Odell Beckham Jr. potentially and signing him up.
There's got to be something strategic with that. And I'm not even sure what, but yeah.
Strategery.
Thank you, Will Ferrell.
Yes. Yes. So, I don't know, but that just seems kind of interesting. So,
yeah. I don't
you
know.
always believe the Cowboys are on the up and up with their reports and leaks. It is Jerry Jones after all. So,
that is true.
Mm-hmm.
But,
interesting. I did see PFT also say, watch out for the Eagles for the Odell sweepstakes. I was kind of wondering about the Eagles throughout the whole thing too,
but how much? I mean, I guess that's throwing another dynamic into their offense, and so far their offense is showing a lot of variety. So maybe that's a good thing. And he, as we saw with the Rams, it's not exactly like he's a franchise killer. I know he had issues in New York and he had issues in Cleveland. He did not have issues in Los Angeles. So maybe he would be fine in Philadelphia. I guess it depends on the team.
I think you need that coach and that locker room leadership. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think Buffalo, he'd fit in. I think that culture, maybe that's the word I'm looking for, the culture. Buffalo would be good. Giants, I think, I don't know. Brian Dable, I think, is doing a great job. But, you know, Giants are just like, okay, how much you buying the Giants, though, that they're actually going to win, make a deep run? You know what I mean?
I don't buy it. I mean, I can see him freaking out at Daniel Jones really easily.
Mm-hmm.
Flashback to the Eli era.
Yep.
No, totally I don't think he's going to go to New York. The Giants still have some more work to do. I think they're kind of coming back down to earth a little bit. I mean, they're not gonna suck again like they did recently, but they've got some more work ahead.
A couple more texts. Aaron getting reps with the new wide receivers. Who's Jordan Love? Last I checked, he's never done anything. That's one of our questions. I'm going to bring it up to you here quickly, Lucas. Jim Letters had success in his coaching career. Joe Barry has been a failure at his last 3 stops. Again, I'll get back to that question here in a second. But Leonard to Green Bay, he brings a unique blend of NFL experience where he had a reputation of being a coach on the field with major college coaching experience and the ability to deal with young players. Makes him a good choice. Please, no NFL coaching retreads other than a few. It just doesn't seem to work. A draft and development team needs a coordinator who can communicate with younger players. Surveyor, Jimmy has experience as a player coach under the Rex Ryan tree. Remember, every player who played with Jimmy said he was a coach on the field. He would bring that Rex Ryan system to Green Bay and I believe have way better success than Joe Barry. So I don't know if you heard the question I had asked in the first hour there, Lucas. I actually had 2 of them, but you know, Jimmy Leonard not coming back to Wisconsin. He's going to coach, or he's going to be the defensive coordinator for the bowl game, but he had tweeted he's not coming back. So Packers fans bring Joe or bring Jimmy to Green Bay sort of thing. So my question was, why do you want Jimmy Leonard if you are a Packers fan? If you are one of those that wants Jimmy Leonard, why do you want Jimmy Leonard over maybe somebody who has a proven track record like a Vic Fangio? I'm not asking to compare Jimmy Leonard to Joe Barry. We're assuming Joe Barry's gone. Although that could be it's dangerous to assume, right? That's going to be the case. But we're assuming Joe Barry's going to be gone. So we're not comparing Leonard to Joe Barry. And I would comment to Surveyor too. We did have a Rex Ryan system with Mike Pettin, just not that long ago,
Right.
a little bit ago. So we did have that for a little bit. Mike Pettin was Rex Ryan's defensive coordinator at a couple of different stops. So that I would point that out too. So I'm asking Jimmy Leonard or somebody with a proven track record, not a Joe Barry or anything like that. Proven track record. What would you rather have? And if you're picking Jimmy Leonard, why? And if you're just like, I'm just a fan of Jimmy Leonard, that's fine. Whatever. No right or wrong answer at this point. So that's the first question. You're obviously not a Packers fan, but you got a defensive coordinator over there, Ed Donatel, who's been a retread for a little bit there.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. And the thing I pointed out too here, Lucas, was, okay, swipe Jimmy Leonard's name off. It's Joe Brown from South Carolina or something like that. Are we clamoring for it? And let's say Matt LaFleur hires this Joe Brown from South Carolina. Same resume, same story, but it's South Carolina. What are Packers fans' reaction then?
Not even close. I mean, you have some people going, well, no, he's really a good hire. Others would be like, well, who? What? No, it has everything to do with Jimmy Leonard from Wisconsin. That's it. Who evidently was not considered good enough to become the Badger head coach. But that doesn't mean he wouldn't be a bad defensive coordinator. Now I see Adam Schefter saying that Jimmy Leonard's going to come up in NFL head coaching.
I missed that. Did Schefter really actually say that?
Where did I see that? It was from, was it ESPN Milwaukee?
Okay.
Hang on. I'm going to try to find.
Is this the whole, what's that guy's name? LSU's offensive coordinator, remember?
Dave Aranda.
No, offensive coordinator. When Joe Burrow and them won it. Barry, he went to Carolina.
Brady.
Yeah, Brady. He was getting head coach. Is this Cliff Kingsbury? Not knocking Jimmy Leonard. I'm not, but it's like.
Here we go. From the Jen, Gabe, and Chewy show on ESPN Milwaukee. When the inevitable NFL coaching changes occur, I'm sure his name will come up. Adam Schefter on Jim Leonard's potential future. Well, if Schefter's saying that, that's usually, I mean, as much as we rip on Adam Schefter, also he's got incredible connections that you and I can only dream are possible. So if he's saying that, someone out there has probably bounced his name around. Not to the point of like we're going to take the next step and interview him, but someone somewhere who's in a position to hire went, maybe Jim Leonard be a good head coach.
Yeah. I mean, Joe Brady got head coaching interviews in the NFL.
Yeah.
After 1 year of high-level coordinating at LSU, and then he goes to Carolina, and he was getting head coaching interviews at the NFL. Dude's 33 right now. So he was doing that at like 29 or 30. It's possible.
Yeah.
He's with Buffalo right now as a quarterback's coach, by the way. So,
and it's not bad.
No.
I don't. Okay, back to the Packer point of who would you want to take. Coordinators jump fairly quickly, so this is not a long-term hire of Jim Leonard's going to master your defense for the next decade. Don't expect that with any coordinator anyway.
I'm going to jump in here really quick because you break a good point. Something I didn't think about. You hire Jim Leonard. He has success. He's probably sticking around, a couple years?
Yeah.
You hire a guy like Vic Fangio who's probably not going to be a head coach anymore. He sticks around maybe a little bit longer. Do you prefer that?
It depends on how long you. Okay, and there are a lot of other factors into this. Aaron Rodgers will no longer be the Packer quarterback within a few years, potentially as early as next year, maybe 2 or 3 years from now. We are not entirely sure what we're going to see from Jordan Love. The end of the Eagles game was optimistic, but that was like one drive. And who all else will be aging out of their abilities, who gets drafted, et cetera, et cetera. Does Christian Watson keep scoring a touchdown every game, or is he in a wave right now? Very optimistic, but all of these factors.
He's the next coming to Don Hudson, man.
But he still has a higher bar to clear. That is, as we've noted, future Hall of Famer Romeo Doubs. Yeah. See, when you got a Hall of Famer as your other guy on the roster, granted, he's only played a few games, but if he's your future Hall of Famer, you've got to score a touchdown every game to get in the ballpark of that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Anyway, how much do they want to ride their defense in what could be some bouncy years?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good thing to have happen, especially if you don't know what your offense is going to be like, which the offense, I don't think it's going to be as bad as it has shown potentially this year, though. Again, some of the metrics on Green Bay's offense are actually pretty good. But I would think you'd want to be not as porous as the defense has shown to be at times this year and under the latter Pettine years. And I think I'm leaning against retread, and I'm going more towards new blood. The retreads don't always work out. Maybe I'm a little scarred from Donatel, but also Pettine went through several cycles. Looked pretty good as a hire. I mean, I know we were very high on it.
What if it's a retread though that has had success wherever you go? Remember, Wade Phillips was kind of like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, oh, you hire Wade Phillips, you have an instant turnaround.
There are a few that can do that.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of high on Mike Pettine too for that reason. But that something didn't work in Green Bay.
But I think we have to remember too, and I'm playing devil's advocate with all this for you.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, Mike Pettine didn't call plays.
Okay.
That was Rex Ryan.
Yeah, so do you need Rex Ryan to be your defensive coordinator? Of course, that's not happening.
Remember, people wanted Rex Ryan when McCarthy was still there as defensive coordinator.
I mean, and they probably would have had a better defense at that point because of Rex Ryan being in charge. So, yeah, I would actually rather go for an up-and-comer.
Now, you mentioned Brian Flores last week, didn't you? That you were kind of...
I don't think I did.
Okay.
But that being said, I think Flores would be a good choice. Pittsburgh's defense is looking better. As it's taken a bit, but
he doesn't call plays though.
Right.
He did for New England, we think.
I think, but I am again retread stuff. I think I'm talking myself more and more into new guy. Like I'm looking at San Francisco.
So if Vic Fangio says, I want to coordinate your defense, do you take him or Jimmy Leonard?
I think he's been good enough. Well, okay, then I think it's an either-or proposition. You have to evaluate what do you think Jim Leonard will bring as an NFL, mind you, defensive coordinator versus what Vic Fangio has done, and do you think he can adapt the system to this group of players at this part in Vic Fangio's career? And that might be a toss-up. If the Packers have to feel comfortable enough. Now, if they were...
Because this is supposed to be a version of the Vic Fangio defense that Joe Barry is running.
And if Joe Barry is not executing it that well, maybe you need the actual Vic Fangio defense. Of course, has the league started to figure out the Vic Fangio defense?
Yeah.
That's a problem. The Packers apparently were high enough to want Jim Leonard to come up to Green Bay and be on the staff before. I think I would go.
They're also very high on Joe Barry to come up and lead the staff too.
Yeah, may not have been the best evaluation too. So, do we trust that they're going to make the right move? All in all, I would lean Jim Leonard over Vic Fangio, and I mean lean. It's not a slam dunk, but I think Leonard might be better even if he only sticks around for a couple of years.
What if Aaron comes back next year and you got 1 year though?
Yeah, I might still do the same thing.
Really? Interesting.
I'm
all on Vic Fangio.
Man,
I want the more proven.
I know. I'm weird. I mean, for the Packers' sake, again, me for the Packers' sake. But I'm wary that something might not quite translate over. I don't know.
It's not like Mike McCarthy bringing in Mike Nolan for his first year when he was with Dallas. You know, Mike Nolan was like doing nothing.
Right.
You know, and position coach or whatever, something like that. Or everybody thought it was either going to be Mike Nolan or Jim Haslett for crying out loud.
Right.
Yeah.
So no, I think they got to go with the person who they think is going to be the most dynamic and is going to fit the best with the players. There's a lot of that's not working thus far. That's what they need to find. Someone.
So they got to find somebody that fits with the players, or somebody that the players respect and actually buy into the game plan.
It's both. You really need both. Because something hasn't clicked with these players for a little while now. Whether that's them it's not a matter of relating, but they're not understanding what the defensive coordinators are trying to put in place. That's not on the players necessarily. That might be the teacher is not teaching it the right way. Something is not translating. With enough talent on the defense, these guys should be performing a lot better. Mm-hmm. And I can't believe they've collectively performed as meh as they have this year. That strikes me as a coordinator thing.
I think one thing we have to be careful about when we talk about, this guy will bring in this system, like Jimmy Leonard, with the Rex Ryan system. I want coordinators to bring we got to be careful with that, right? Mm-hmm. Like, Rex Ryan isn't coaching anymore for a reason, though, too, right? And that's not knocking his entire defense, but there's a reason too. I mean, we got to, coordinators are going to try to bring in their own styles too. Mm-hmm. They're going to put in their own flavors. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to bring in that same exact system. I can't think of a Rex Ryan disciple right now that's coaching in the NFL.
That's a good point.
And they're very well could be like coordinator wise. I can't think of one off the top of my head. Mike Pettin's like an assistant with you guys over there. He's not calling the plays.
Right.
He's like a consultant, like whatever Dom Capers is.
And also like that defense hasn't looked that great this year either.
No. I'm sure Rob is somewhere. Rob Ryan is doing something, I got to imagine. Wherever he's at this point.
A big mane of hair.
He's with senior defensive assistant for the Raiders. Okay. Well, they ain't doing anything either.
No.
So
outside of Max Crosby, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting talked more and more off of bringing in someone else. They've tried that too a few times. I think they try fresh. It seems to work with some other teams. Now, maybe it's the culture of the team. I cited San Francisco earlier, and maybe there's a certain culture that works with a Robert Saleh, now DeMeco Ryans. Ryans is probably going to be a head coach next year. Mm-hmm. That defense is we've got some good defenses out there right now. The 49er defense is hands down the scariest defense. Mm-hmm. I have nothing to do with that team. DeMeco Ryans is next, and who's going to be who's going to be next there? Maybe that's an organizational thing, and maybe it's a blind spot for the Packers.
That's that. You look at some of the great teams with their cultures; they're able to, plug in coaches and promote them, and really not miss a beat. Like the Rams did with their offensive coordinators for a little bit there, right? Or even defensive coordinators.
Yeah.
They had Wade Phillips. They let him go. Brandon Staley comes in. He's head coach. And then, and like with the 49ers too, as you mentioned, Robert Saleh, head coach. DeMeco Ryans is going to be a head coach. They'll probably promote from within. Hey, former Packer linebacker Johnny Holland's on staff there.
Ooh.
Just saying, yeah. I mentioned him a couple years ago.
And he could.
But, those are the good programs, right, that they can just promote within because it's a system, it's a culture there that if they lose a coach, they can, we got talented enough guys that can be promoted and fill in that role. Mm-hmm. 49ers have been doing it. Packers this year, not really, after they lost a bunch of them.
No. So maybe San Francisco is not a good point of comparison. That they have a particular system that works for optimizing talent at defensive coordinator that other teams just don't have. They haven't built.
And I believe DeMeco came from Philadelphia, right? He played for Philadelphia, but no, he did. He was a inside linebackers coach, then promoted and all that. So, okay. But, yeah, he played for Philly. For some reason, I thought he was coaching there, too. But...
Yeah, he went to the Niners 2 years after he retired.
Okay. So, there we go. Yeah, promoted from within.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know.
He's young, too. Oh, boy, that'd be a heck of a get.
Right?
Oh, boy. He's only
38. He'll be 39 in July.
Dang.
He's older than Sean McVay, though. I think. Right?
How old is Sean? remind myself, Sean McVay. Yeah, he's 36.
He was born the same year as me.
Can he somehow can we tie D'Amico Ryans into the Sean McVay coaching tree some way?
Yeah, we can. I can tell you how.
How?
He coaches under Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, okay. I figured that's
there
where
you
you
go.
were going.
That's easy.
Okay, so he's part of the.
It's easy.
He's part of. Okay.
He knows Kyle Shanahan, and then there you go. Yeah.
And thus, he's part of the Sean McVay coaching tree.
There's actually a Sean McVay on the Wikipedia page of him. They actually have a section called the Sean McVay Effect. It's about the coaching tree. So
it should be relabeled as the Sean McVay coaching tree.
Yeah, but they call it the effect because it's 2022. So
okay, fine.
Yeah, there you go. All right, we're running by. We got to take a break. So coming up next hour, we're gonna do some stock reports. We'll do a little showdown, all that fun stuff too, and we got to get to a good vibes story out there too. So we'll finish up the second hour after these quick words. All right, we got less than a minute, so we'll do stock reports probably at the back end of next hour. We'll do that. So your stock risers, fallers, you can hit us up with that throughout the morning, or I guess for the final hour here. Our good vibes only. Come on, I can't. Come on. I'm gonna run out of time. Nope, good vibes. Come on. Yeah. Cutting it close with the shot clock, but it's simple. Good vibes right now. Festival of Toys. Easy enough, Luke.
Yes. Keep
3
listening.
days.
More to come.
More to come. So Festival of Toys, you can head to aroundthe715.com for info on there. Greatest holiday or best holiday ever. You can also get the link at our website, sportstalk1051.com. All right. It's going to be a busy 8 o'clock hour. So gear up, get ready. Here we go. Another showdown, 1981 versus 2000 coming up in just a few minutes. All right, third hour, excuse me, final hour on this Wednesday morning, kicking off right now. Big thanks to everybody tuning in, however, and wherever you may be tuning in. Coming up in just a little bit, we're gonna do some showdown here. I've been looking at the movies here. It's gonna be interesting, I think, with the movies one here. Maybe a little close. I don't know. We'll see. Back end of this hour, we'll do some stock reports. Whose stock is rising and whose stock is falling. We'll get back to some more of your thoughts and comments on the texting line at 715-830-1912. Let's just do it. Let's just get into it. Let's do a little showdown, Lucas.
All right.
Should we start it off with sports?
Let's
do it. 81 in sports. Raiders beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl. Jim Plunkett was your MVP. Georgia won the Sugar Bowl, the college national championship over Notre Dame that year. Baseball. 40 yeah
the strike.
The 49-day strike over the issue of free agent compensation. Dodgers did beat the Yankees in the World Series that year. It was a three-way tie for MVP.
Yeah.
That year too. Indiana beat North Carolina in the NCAA championship. Celtics beat the Raiders.
Isaiah Thomas with the Hoosiers, as you note.
Yep. Celtics beat the Rockets in the NBA Finals. Larry Holmes defeated Trevor Burbick by unanimous decision to retain the WBC heavyweight title. What else do we got on here?
Hockey Islanders beat the North Stars. North Stars went on a bit of a not quite miracle run, but it was a surprising run. So that Islanders were definitely winning that Stanley Cup.
Okay. We got John McEnroe won the U.S. Open and Wimbledon championships that year. Martina Navratilova won the Australian Open. Anything else on
golf-wise? Tom Watson won the Masters.
Tom Kite, you don't see that name too often, was the money leader.
Right.
So, what? I think that's about it, right?
Yeah, and boxing,
yeah, I mentioned the Larry Holmes one. So
Sugar Ray Leonard won. I mean, yeah, it was not the biggest year overall.
No. 2000 though, I've for the longest time have said that this was my favorite Super Bowl. Was the Titans and Rams one.
It was a pretty fun one.
Yeah, it was. If you remember, 1 yard away, that one. I've always said that's always the top Super Bowl for me, memory wise. I just remember watching the end of that as a kid. I was in 8th grade. So, Florida State beat Virginia Tech to win the college football national championship. We've got the World Series. The Yankees beat the Mets, the Subway Series, 4-1. Derek Jeter was the MVP. Basketball, the Lakers win their first NBA title in 12 years, defeating the Indiana Pacers 4-2, the first of Shaq and Kobe.
It was a pretty good series. And, of course, the one before that, the Western Conference Finals, the Lakers come back against the Trailblazers.
Yes,
that memorable Shaq scene.
With Kobe to Shaq. Yep, yeah. Kobe to Shaq.
Badgers go on their run
Final
to the
Four.
Final Four. Dick Bennett and scoring like 40 points a game.
Yep.
But it worked. It worked.
Michigan State did win it over Florida that year. But yeah, I remember they beat Purdue to go to the Final Four, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I was watching it on a little black and white TV in my room.
Mm-hmm.
Comets beat the Liberty to complete their four-peat in the WNBA. I remember that run. They were just a dynasty.
They don't exist.
No.
It's weird. It's rare for a team to be that good, and then the timing was bad. And
Thompson, Swoops, Cooper. See, I know all those.
Yeah, I mean they stormed right out of the '96 Olympics.
Yep.
Speaking of Olympics, you had the Sydney Olympics that year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean there was who's the runner got doping got.
Yeah. I can
picture her too.
Yep. Yeah, we're Googling it, aren't we?
Yeah.
Marion Jones.
Yes, Marion Jones that year.
Yep.
But I think, wasn't that the first year Michael Phelps did something? I think, I'm trying to remember how that worked for the Olympics that year.
I don't know.
Among the highlights, let's see, from in Sydney, and again, that was a later one, late September into October because of the timing of the year.
He was in the 04 Olympics. World Championships was 01 he started. So
Okay.
So just about a year after.
Okay. Kathy Freeman had a pretty good Olympics that year. Of course, 81 didn't end. There just happened to be not an Olympic year, but it was an okay year for the Olympics in Sydney. Hockey, that was the year the Devils beat them in the Stanley Cup final. I remember when that finished up while I was over in London, seeing the highlights on that. Like, oh, good. Glad they didn't win. You know who I'm talking about.
Yep.
Them.
Yep.
Former Minnesota North Stars. So it's the same franchise was in the Stanley Cup final, both 1981 and 2000. One in the right place, one in the wrong place. Golf. Tell us about what happened in golf in 2000.
Big golf year. If you're a Tiger fan, that is. He won 3 of the 4 majors. The only one he didn't win was the Masters, but he also became the 5th golfer that year to achieve the modern career Grand Slam. And he so in the U.S. Open, he wins by 15 shots, a record for all majors. Then in the British Open, sets the 2-par record for all majors at 19 under par, for crying out loud. And then for the PGA Championship, he ties the 2-par record for the PGA at 18 under. Back to the U.S. Open, I don't know if I said open to par record score of minus. That might have been like Tiger's best year, 2000.
Yeah.
He was freaking dominant that year.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely dominant. So
agreed.
Yeah.
Venus took a couple titles at the in tennis at Wimbledon and the U.S. Open. Andre Agassi took the Australian Open. Pete Sampras won at Wimbledon, of course. I'm strongly leaning 2000.
Yeah, I think this is 2000 hands down. You got the Super Bowl, you got Tiger in this thing, so those to me are the big ones.
Yeah,
for that.
There was actual baseball played during the entire year. That's a plus.
Yeah.
All right. So, what next? Music or movies?
Let's do music. Let's change it up here a little bit.
Okay. Musically, albums in 1981. Moving Pictures from Rush came out that year. Ghost in the Machine from The Police. Belladonna from Stevie Nicks. Not necessarily the biggest run. 4 from Foreigner came out that year. Escape from Journey, of course, has a certain song that is apparently one of our national anthems right now. You know what I'm talking about. South Detroit, which does not exist. I saw one of, was it Pat Kreitlow recently, I think, said he just discovered South Detroit, not real. Like, there is no municipality called South Detroit. I'm sure a lot of us were driving around like, where is it? Doesn't exist. That was the year of Betty Davis Eyes, Endless Love, Celebration, Kool and the Gang was a number 1 hit that year. Jesse's Girl, Kiss on My List was that year. Believe it or not, I'm walking on air. That was that year. Keep on Loving You went to number 1 that year. Let's see. What else? 1981 was considered one of the peak years of what's known as the doldrums in pop music.
Okay.
It's a thing about the cycle of top 40 music. And 1981, if you look at a lot of the stuff that was out there, put it this way, Air Supply was one of the biggest acts in America.
Ooh.
Yeah,
wow.
Not the greatest. I mean, there are plenty of good music as I just cited. Too Much Time on My Hands, Styx was out that year. Like I said, Journey. There are some good ones. 2000, you've got Kid A from Radiohead, the Marshall Mathers LP, Stankonia was out that year. Voodoo from D'Angelo. Already the albums are about Hybrid Theory from Linkin Park.
Yes.
Yep. Oops, I did it again.
Yep.
But that also means that was the year of No Strings Attached, which produced, oh my gosh, so much content. Bye, 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 The Dance, the Justin Timberlake scene from the video, and that other song that came off of it, It's Gonna Be May.
Yeah.
That was 2000. Among the bigger hits that year. Now, it's tricky looking at the Billboard top list because at this point you had songs that were so big in 1999 they hung around into 2000. So it's not really fair to look at the top of that list. But I just mentioned In Sync. I just mentioned Oops, I Did It Again. The Thong Song. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow.
Mm-hmm. What else? Creed.
Oh, come on now.
Higher and
Yes.
with arms wide open.
Come on now. Now we're
Right.
talking.
Yeah. Look for that video clip of them. I think it was 2000 performing at Thanksgiving and
At the Cowboy Stadium.
Cowboy Stadium.
Yeah.
The guy flying through the air and
Packers fans should know that one. Somebody edited that. That's a popular one with Aaron's the guy flying.
Mhm.
Bakhtiari's the one on the guitar.
Gosh. Oh man. Country Grammar that year.
Oh boy, I burned that CD. Man alive.
Yeah. I know it came out technically in 99, but it was a hit in 2000. Say My Name holds up really well to this day. I just going through that list right there. 2000's winning the music.
All right, so 2000's already won.
They have, and
Okay.
now to the movies.
It's kind of interesting because when you look at 81, you got Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark, Chariots of Fire, you got Excalibur on there, you got Porky's, American Werewolf in London, The Evil Dead, which is an awful horror movie. I don't know if anybody has seen it, but it is just awful.
The Cannonball Run.
Yeah, Stripes is on here, which honestly might be a top 3 movie from this year because you got to put Indiana Jones in on there, you know.
Victory.
Mm-hmm. Halloween 2, Friday the 13th, Part 2 is on there. Taps is on here too. But
Heavy Metal came out that year.
History of the World Part 1, Mel Brooks.
Yes. Arthur.
Yeah.
On Golden Pond, pretty solid movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you go to 2000, and I feel like in 2000, the movies a lot of people will know are kind of maybe down the list because we're using this IMDb one. So like The Perfect Storm is on here, if you remember that. George Clooney, Mark Wahlberg.
Very good movie.
Me, Myself, and Irene.
Gladiator.
Yep. That's that one's on there too. Now I'm just kind of switching the page here.
Almost Famous.
How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the Jim Carrey version. American Psycho.
Coyote Ugly.
Oh yeah. X-Men came out, scary movie. Oh brother, we're out there. Aaron Brockovich, The Replacements, Remember the Titans.
Oh gosh.
Road Trip, The Patriots, Castaway, Bring It On.
Best in Show. Awesome. 2000 wins.
Yeah. That's pretty easy. Gone in 60 Seconds.
I mean, I know Charlie's Angels came out that year. Now we're starting to get some that are pulling it back down, but that's okay. Meet the Parents.
Oh yeah. Well, see? Yep.
Yeah.
Whole 9 yards. Mission Impossible 2, great soundtrack for Mission Impossible 2, by the way.
Miscongeniality. Dude, where's my car?
Yeah.
My gosh.
Reindeer Games.
Yeah.
I did have the Mission Impossible 2 soundtrack, though.
You did?
Yep. It was Metallica's I Disappear on there.
Oh, yeah.
Limp Bizkit was on there. Yeah. Come on, man. I was an 8th grader in 2000.
I understand.
Those were the jams. I did that. The reason why though is TRL, because I remember watching that Metallica music video for "I Disappear" all the time on there.
Yeah, it was out that year. So what did they release? Because the year in 2000, Limp Bizkit edition, chocolate starfish and the hot dog flavored water.
God, yeah.
Keep rolling.
Just insane. Those were the good days. I had that on my portable CD player with the plug-in speakers instead of a headphone on my basketball court, shooting hoops with that CD playing. I was. I was a dude.
Went to the Wikipedia page for chocolate starfish and the hot dog flavored
Who
water.
comes up with a name like that, by the way?
Well, the first part, I didn't know what that meant until just now. To use the slang, I was today years old when I discovered what chocolate starfish meant. Am I allowed to repeat it on the radio?
Should I look this up?
But do that first. There is a safe way to put it.
Okay.
Verify
it's on Wikipedia?
Yeah, well, it explains. It's, very, very dryly.
Okay.
Yeah. Is that
first
acceptable?
part of the title? Let's just say The Human Behind.
Yes.
So
yes. For those that want to learn more, go to chocolate starfish and the hot dog flavored water.
I
on
had no
Wikipedia.
idea that's what it meant.
Okay. And I thought the hot dog flavored water part was the more disgusting part. Wow. 22 years of that, and that just flipped.
Okay, yeah.
Now that's it. That's an even more disgusting title.
Oh. I did not know that. Okay. Well, they know.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, Biscuit just got even more lame.
Yeah, they did.
Despite Limp Bizkit, 2,000 wins.
There goes my
appetite for the rest of the day?
No, my memories of 8th grade, and I loved 8th grade. So dang.
I love the music and lyrics. The song Hot Dog features the word beep 46 times. I'm not going to say the word because I would get fined a lot of money.
Yeah. All right. So 2000 moves on quite handedly in this thing. Albert Breer, switching gears here just a little bit. Going back to our conversation, Albert Breer, Monday morning quarterback. Wisconsin defense coordinator Jim Leonhard announces he's leaving his alma mater after leaving the Badgers bowl game. The ex-Jets and Ravens safety is, in all caps, very highly thought of in NFL circles and will have opportunities in the league. Rams, Packers interviewed him for defensive coordinator openings the last couple of years. So we will see.
Okay.
We will see. But
interesting.
If you're Jim Leonhard, though, do you want to be defense coordinator of the Packers, or would you rather go somewhere else? And you know where I'm going at with this, right?
Expectations?
Yes.
Yeah, I would actually. I mean, unless I'm a very Wisconsin-y person, that's fine. But if you're not, I would. Yeah, I wouldn't go here because so many Wisconsin football fans. I mean, the state of Wisconsin football fans wanted to see Jim Leonhard go there. Not, I don't know if it was majority, but a lot did. And considering the Packer defensive troubles of late, they're going to think he's the savior. Well, they thought he was going to be the savior for Badger football. We didn't have enough of a sample size to know. It didn't look that great, but I don't think that was I don't know that was the best evaluation. I'm not knocking McIntosh. For us as people who follow football, I don't think that's the best evaluation, what we saw this season. But the expectation would be, okay, 17 games of the Packers, that defense is going to be stout. And then if it's not, well, then what?
Who is, and I'll have to research this or look it up, but who is the last college defensive coordinator to make the jump to the NFL to be, 1 year he's the college defense coordinator, next year he's an NFL defense coordinator?
I have to look that up.
Yeah, because I know we mentioned Joe Brady, offensive coordinator for LSU, then went to Carolina. And I guess you could kind of say the same thing for Cliff Kingsbury because he was offensive coordinator for a day for USC and then head coach for the Cardinals. But I'm trying to think who was the last college defensive coordinator in the next year jumped up to the NFL to be defensive coordinator. There's got to be somebody. I'm just drawing a blank right now.
Yeah, I'm blanking on that to make that immediate leap. I'd have to think about that some more. I have to do some research on that because it's tough. Like you try to Google that, and that doesn't really get you anywhere.
Because I will say the one thing I do think gives Leonhard that advantage to be able to do that is the fact that he did play in the NFL, right? Like he knows the ins and outs. He knows what the NFL life is like. Whereas, a lot of these corners, college corners, they may not have played in the NFL, right? They may not have coached at any level in the NFL or done anything, and then they make that jump. So at least he has that experience of playing in the NFL where he knows what that life is like.
Yeah.
And the lifestyle and the hours you always hear about and that sort of thing. But I'm trying to think off the top of my head who would have been the next. That might be a research project.
I think so.
Yeah.
You need our stats and info department to get on that.
Right. What is it? Come on.
Kind of lacking in people right now.
Very.
Yeah.
You get no money to do this either.
We're hiring for a stat guy.
I'm going to throw a name out there. I don't know if this is the last guy to do it, but let me just double check here. I'm just double check. Okay, not really, I guess, but I kept thinking Nick Saban because he was Michigan State's defensive coordinator. Then he was the Houston Oilers defensive backs coach in 88, 89. Then he coached Toledo at 1990. Then he came to the Browns in 91 as a defensive coordinator. So he had a little bit of NFL.
But not direct.
Not direct, yeah.
No.
That was the first name that popped in my head, but
Hmm.
dang, I'm going to have to think of that.
And also his NFL tenure was not the greatest.
No.
So that's a tough one.
Yeah.
That is a real tough one.
Do you think, though, if Nick Saban, it's a what if, do you think if Nick Saban would have had Drew Brees, he'd still be in the NFL?
No.
Or he would have stayed longer and he would never be at Alabama?
He might have found his way to Alabama. I don't think he would have stayed in the NFL, though. I think he would have been. He's seems to be more built for college.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really tough for good college coaches to be really good NFL coaches. I mean, that talk about a jump there. That doesn't often work that well. So, no, I think he would have been back in. It's a little bit of an unknown if he would have made his way to Alabama because, I mean, it depends on if Alabama would have been that successful immediately. If Saban sticks around for another couple of years, do they start getting better quickly or do they just wait a couple more years and get Saban? Who was a pretty hot commodity at that time.
Yeah.
So maybe they would have held out. I don't know. That's a tough one to say.
It is. All right, let's take a break and let's do some stock reports, okay? Let's do that. So we'll do that. Stock reports. Whose stock is rising? Whose stock is falling? Coming up next. I got one name. I don't know if he was the last one, but I do got one name. I found one.
Mm-hmm.
Got to go back to Dave Wannstedt.
Oh, wow.
The Cowboys.
Huh. Okay.
Following Jimmy Johnson from Miami to the Dallas Cowboys. Defensive coordinator at Miami. You.
Mm-hmm.
Then goes to the Cowboys. That I was randomly putting in some defensive coordinator names in there trying to think, and I typed in Dave Wannstedt, and that's one.
Okay. Makes
So
sense.
I don't know if that's the most recent one, but there's one. I thought I had one with Mike Vrabel, but he was when he was at Ohio State, he wasn't a defensive coordinator there. Then he went to the Texans, linebackers coach, 1 year coordinator at with the Texans, then obviously with Tennessee now. So
Okay.
thought I had it with Vrabel, but no, wasn't the case.
But yeah, that was back when University of Miami was like practically a pro team.
With Wannstedt
Yeah.
and Jimmy, yeah.
You take anyone off of that team, like, well, you're basically NFL light. So
Right.
yeah,
Exactly. So that's one. So we do have one.
okay.
He did. I mean, he ended up getting a head coaching job with the Bears and such. So
He
I mean,
did.
give
I
him
think
credit. So
yeah, okay.
how long did he? So he was at. All right. Well, here's the other thing too. He was only coordinator at the U for just 2 years, 86 to 88.
Mm-hmm.
So
But that was pretty good years to be at.
yeah, and he had a pretty good head coach with him too, and he's a Hall of Famer now. So.
Right. So I can understand why Wannstedt would have gotten that attention.
Right. Exactly. And I didn't realize this. He actually was drafted by the Packers, Dave Wannstedt.
He was?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
1974 draft in the 15th round. He spent his only NFL season on the injured reserve list with a neck injury.
Huh.
So
Interesting.
I always love it when I see, because he was an offensive tackle. I always love it when I see these players that develop into coaches and they are on the other side of the ball. You know what I mean? Like, or that sort of thing. And it's not like remember when Andy Reid was with the Eagles at the end and he like tried converting was a defensive lineman or an offensive lineman position coach into his coordinator on the other side. I was like, what the heck are you doing?
Vaguely remember that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So, but
All
right.
Mix it up. If it works, go for it.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, Lucas, we'll start it off with you. Whose stock is rising, in your opinion?
I'll say Tyler Adams, main guy with the U.S. national team, captain. Kind of became do I dare say, the breakout star of Team USA's run. He's only 23. He plays for Leeds United in the Premier League. There are a lot of Premier League players that were on the men's national team this year.
Mm-hmm.
And this is really saying something for the talent of American soccer that I mean, Premier League, they're going to take whoever's the best, starting to take a lot more Americans. He acquitted himself really well in this run in the World Cup. He is, I mean, we need like more than one star, someone beyond Christian Pulisic on this team. And going into 2026, just for fans, it's good to have some more names, but also talent. And Tyler Adams is going to be the lead on that in a lot of ways. He sure made the turn over the past couple weeks or so, and I'm looking forward to seeing more from him. Obviously, we'll see what he does in the Premier League, and does he stick with Leeds? Does he go on to another team at some point? Does he transfer, et cetera, et cetera? But 2026 in America, I'll bet you're going to be hearing a lot more Tyler Adams, maybe getting up in, does he get into that Pulisic, Donovan, Dempsey level of fame? That's a stock rise.
Is it like, we kind of going back to that jersey thing where you said, wearing the honorary number for jersey sort of thing?
Mm-hmm.
Is it something like the main guy for the U.S. men's team always has to be nicknamed Captain America?
Yeah, right now, yeah.
Because I heard that with him. I heard it with Dempsey back in the, when he was there.
I saw it with Pulisic.
Yeah. So it's like
it's a thing. Yeah. If you got a notable captain, which for international teams we have in the United States, it's pretty much soccer. I mean, you can have a team captains for basketball and whatnot in the Olympics, but it seems to be just a soccer thing where it rises to the point of who is the captain. And so then, of course, we're going to go all Captain America on that because USA. We were rooting for, but then it makes sense that we're going to do that.
Right. So for all the talk about Jimmy Leonard and such, he's actually my stock riser because I think you're going to have teams that are going to bid for Jimmy Leonard for his services. I think he's in a, obviously he didn't get his dream job, didn't get the job he wanted. There will not be a shortage of suitors for Jimmy Leonard, though. I think he's going to be able, he's not going to have to try to interview. He's going to go on interviews probably if he wants to coach. That's the thing. If he wants to coach, we got to put that out there too, right? But, it's not like he's got to go out on an audition and try to win the job. He's going to get interviews and stuff. He is going to be able, I think, to kind of choose where he wants to go. If he wants to make that jump to the NFL, he's going to get a job in the NFL. If he wants to stay as a coordinator in college, he's going to get a job in college. So I think even though he didn't get his dream job, Jimmy Leonard's star is pretty darn bright at this point.
The world is his oyster right now.
Yeah. So stock up, I think, even though he didn't get it, it's still Jimmy Leonard.
Yeah, agreed. Stock faller, Timberwolves. I mean, I know Towns is out, but he hasn't. I've talked about it before. He hasn't performed well this year, and that doesn't help. But for the organization as a whole, this is starting to turn into season from hell territory. Between Gobert getting ejected the other night, D'Angelo Russell gets fined $20K. This team is not clicking. Remember, they don't have their draft pick, number one draft pick this year. And remember, every other year going forward, and that's the Stepien rule again, so you can't give away in consecutive years. If the season ended today, the Timberwolves would be in the draft lottery. Barely. I mean, they'd be the team with the lowest odds because they're the first team out. But right now, they are not in the playoffs, and they also would not have that draft pick. I was listening to the Simmons pod. He was doing, Bill Simmons was doing the 20-game evaluation, and he said, you know what? If this keeps going south, and somehow the Timberwolves get the number one pick in the Victor Wembanyama draft, and that goes to the Jazz, this already, right now, it's still early to say it's the worst trade ever. Let's give the rest of this season plus the remaining few seasons, let's give that time to play out first. But suddenly that crossed my mind. I'm like, oh my gosh. Does this actually get worse? The Timberwolves, I don't think, are going to bottom out below your Magic, Pistons, Hornets, Spurs. They're pretty bad. But this team is not trending well, and I don't know exactly. Right now, kind of a stock faller.
My stock faller is the 49ers. They got the defense to get to the postseason, maybe win a couple games, but I'm a little bit nervous on their quarterback situation now. They've got their offensive weapons. I think they still make the postseason. But, I mean, this was a team that a lot of people thought last week, Luke, we were just saying, what's your dream Super Bowl matchup if it wasn't Minnesota? We both said 49ers and Bills. That loses a little bit of luster. Now, I know Jimmy, he got some news that he could potentially be back in the postseason.
Division playoffs or conference championship.
Yep, he potentially could. It does lose a little bit of luster, though, because of the questionable quarterback situation. But
their defense is so good, that might be enough.
And it might be like a Ravens situation where they won in spite of Trent Dilfer.
Exactly.
That sort of thing. But this is a big moment, I think, for Kyle Shanahan to prove that he's one of the best coaches in the game. This is his moment.
It's imperative.
Yep. This is where he rises to the okay. And this is where I think DeMeco Ryans really, really improves his stock.
Oh, boy.
We were just talking about him, but if they can go and it's led by their defense, that dude better get a head coach. Better get a head coaching job.
He should. That it's gonna. I mean, and okay, let's see what happens with Purdy. I mean, I know it's Mr. Irrelevant is out there. Okay, yeah, but let's see how Shanahan works the offense around. And I know new guy comes in like that. Usually they get figured out fairly quickly if they're not already really, really, really good. Well, we'll find out. I mean, maybe Purdy's better than we think. I don't know. But their ceiling is lower. They might still be able to punch through it, but they're going to have a lot go right.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm curious to see how it all plays out for the 49ers here. They just got to stay healthy now. They can't afford any injuries to their main, Bosa and all that.
I remember when I had them as my stock riser and I put that massive qualifier on it of if they stay healthy. will.
Yeah.
But again, let's see a few more games from Brock Purdy. That's a real question mark.
We have a 3 quarterback controversy next year for the 49ers. Wait, no, 4 or 5, because, Rodgers is going to get traded there.
Of course.
Or Tom Brady might sign there.
Maybe they all will.
You might have 5 quarterbacks over there for the 49ers.
So here's your what if. What if Brock Purdy actually turns out to be a pretty decent quarterback and leads the 49ers to a championship?
What? We got another Kurt Warner and Tom Brady on our hands then, man.
Uh-huh.
Hey,
then
now.
Jimmy G and the mysterious Trey Lance. What do you do there?
Oh, I mean, you got to ship them out of there, don't you? Or at least one of them.
Both, probably.
Well, you might want to back up.
Well, you'll bring back Nick Mullins.
Yeah. Hey, you hold on to Trey Lance a little bit. Just a little bit.
Well, he'll get injured again, so
you just hold on to him. So
sorry, but did Trey Lance last play football sometime in the last decade?
Yeah.
Seriously, like how often? I mean, I'm being facetious, but it seems like he's barely played any football.
Man, can you imagine if the 49ers do win it with Purdy?
Oh, gosh.
Purdy.
Oh, my gosh. That would be wild.
Because people are going to call about Trey Lance then.
Of course. Well, they'll call about him and Garoppolo. And I know Garoppolo, he still would be an upgrade for several quarterback positions around the league. Lance would also get calls. I mean, the 49ers would have some real good leverage.
Or they might be calling about Purdy.
Maybe. Well, think of between that and the quarterback class in this NFL draft, oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about leverage. I know there's a lot to go around, but still, if you want to be up near the top, now the 49ers would be in the boat there as well. Like, well, we got these guys you could offer. That gets real interesting real fast. We're getting way ahead of ourselves here, but
we are. But I feel like this is going to be a weird draft in terms of movement.
Mm-hmm.
Weird offseason coming up here for a bunch of different reasons. I don't know why. I just have this in my gut that something's going to be weird. Like you're going to see like, holy crap, that actually happened. And like the thing is too, is like you look at the top 10, Eagles have the 6th pick right now. They've got the 6th pick right now.
And let's all remember, too, that does not mean the Eagles will draft with that. They may use that to get something else.
Right.
It's the thing we always have to remember. Like, if the team with the worst record, let's say it ends up being, it's probably going to be the Texans. But let's say, like, somehow the Jaguars back their way into the worst record. They're not drafting a quarterback, obviously. I mean, I know you never say never after what the Cardinals did a few years ago, but no, they're not. The Texans would.
Lions have the 2nd pick now, thanks to the Rams.
Yeah, and somehow that turned out really well for them. And as better as Jared Goff has been playing of late.
That's a thing. I mean, he's just kind of been consistent, hasn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Still can't believe the Lions are favored over the Vikings this weekend.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't see that yet.
Yes, the Vikings are underdogs at Detroit.
Okay, what's the line though? Is it like 1 or something?
Let's see, what is it? I'm gonna go with ESPN. What they say.
While you do that though, like the draft order right now, you could make the case that 4 of the top 5 will be looking at a quarterback because it's Texans. Lions maybe. They've been talking about the last couple of years, but who knows, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bears are not. They got the 3rd one. Seahawks, are they going to buy into the Geno Smith era or not? That's up in the air. Panthers, are. So
Detroit is a 2.5-point favorite.
Okay, so that's still.
But they've been playing well of late. You know what? I think I'm probably going. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I probably am going to pick Detroit this week. Detroit's better than Minnesota and DVOA as one metric. I think Detroit's been playing overall better. The Minnesota second half, I know the Jets have a really good defense, but the Viking offense shut down outside of that one really good drive that ended with that Justin Jefferson touchdown, which was a winning touchdown. Their offense was non-existent, and their defense, you want to watch a bend, don't break defense, watch the second half of the Jets-Vikings game. Go find that somewhere.
Okay.
They were giving up yards, and then wouldn't let the Jets in the end zone except for that one barely pushover by Mike White, which could have been partially. It wasn't entirely a rugby play. It's not one of those where like 5 people get behind him and push him over, which please tell me that's going to be banned next year. But it was kind of that. So That's a formula I don't know that will work against Detroit.
Okay.
The way they're playing right now, I think that's actually an acceptable line, even as a Viking fan. At first, I was offended because I'm like, what? And then you think about it, you're like, oh, no, Detroit's actually playing a little better.
All right, so we got about 11 minutes. I know we got to take a break. We're going to do this really quick, Lucas. We're going to make picks from now until week 18. I got the NFL playoff machine up.
Okay.
We're just going to focus on the NFC, though. Can Green Bay get this done? Or can the Lions get in?
Playoff machine.
You ready for this?
Yeah.
Just NFC teams. So they might be playing AFC team, but we have to do that for tie-breaking scenarios.
So we're trying to the objective is to get the Packers in the playoffs?
Just pick how you will pick. We'll pick, okay? And we'll see how it ends up.
Game by game.
Because Giants and Washington do have a difficult schedule.
Okay.
So
I got the playoff machine up, so
okay.
we can do this.
So we can do each our own, okay?
Yes.
Just so let's go Houston at Dallas. We're both picking Dallas, right?
Yes.
Okay. Minnesota at Detroit.
Detroit.
I'm gonna go Minnesota.
Okay.
Eagles at the Giants. I'm gonna go Eagles.
Yeah, they really should.
Then we've got Tampa Bay at San Francisco now. I'm gonna go San Fran, even with the backup third string quarterback.
Yeah.
Defense against Tom Brady.
Mm-hmm.
Carolina at Seattle. I'm gonna go Seattle.
Seattle's got to win that one.
Does it matter with the Cardinals? Where are they at?
They're hosting the Patriots.
I was looking at their record. I suppose we have to. So I'm gonna go Patriots though.
I'm gonna go Cardinals in this one.
Okay. So week 15, San Fran at Seattle.
Oh,
that's a tough one now. I'll still go San Fran.
I'm gonna go Seattle.
Okay. Colts at Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Yep. Let's go Falcons at the Saints.
I can't believe that's actually going to be a factor.
Yeah.
I'll go Falcons.
I'm gonna go Saints. Ooh, we're going a little different.
I know.
Here.
I'm not confident. I reserve the right to change my picks when I actually make my picks this weekend.
Right.
But this is stuff that's on the fly.
Pittsburgh at Carolina. I'll go Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh should. Carolina's getting frisky right now.
Mm-hmm.
Pittsburgh's trending up. Ooh, that's actually a tough.
That's a good one.
You know what? I'm gonna go Carolina.
All right. Philly at Chicago.
I'll
go
Philadelphia.
Philly. Dallas at Jacksonville. Dallas. Yeah. Detroit at the Jets.
Oh boy, I'm gonna take the Jets.
I'll take Jets. Bengals at Tampa. Bengals playing really well right now.
Yeah, I'll take Tampa. Cincinnati.
I'm gonna go too. I forgot the Cardinals and the Broncos one. God, I don't even know that one. I will throw my eggs in the Nathaniel Hackett, Russell Wilson basket and go Broncos. Then the rematch, Giants and Washington.
Can we have 2 ties in 3 weeks?
God.
Make it happen. I'll go Washington.
I'm going to go Washington too. I'm going Green Bay against the Rams.
Yes, agreed. All right, week 16.
All right. We've got Atlanta at Baltimore. I'll go Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
Detroit at Carolina. I'll go Detroit.
Yeah.
We don't care about the Chicago one. Seattle at Kansas City. I'll go Kansas City.
Yes.
Giants at Minnesota.
Potentially good. I'll go Vikings.
I'll go Vikings. Washington at San Fran. I'll go San Fran because it's at San Fran.
Okay. Bengals at Patriots. Yeah, it should be.
We don't need that one. That's AFC.
Okay.
Philly at Dallas.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm still gonna go Philly.
I'll go. These are the games Dallas tends to go kaput on. I'm gonna go Philadelphia.
I'm picking Green Bay because I feel like the only way they could get in is they have to win out. So I want to see if this is going to happen. I wouldn't pick them though, but I'm going to just for this exercise.
Okay.
See where they go. Tampa Bay at Arizona.
Feels like they played each other like 5 times this season. I don't know why. I'm
gonna go Tampa.
Why do I keep picking Arizona? I don't trust Tampa Bay enough. I'm gonna pick Arizona.
All right. Week 17, Dallas at Tennessee. I'll go Dallas.
I'll go Tennessee.
All right. We got Arizona at Atlanta. I'll go Atlanta.
Yeah.
We got Chicago at Detroit. I'll go Detroit.
Potential. Yeah. I'll pick the Lions.
Colts at the Giants. I'll go Giants.
I'll pick the. Yeah. I'll.
We're out of time, look.
I know. I'm running out here. Giants.
Okay. Saints at Philly. I'll go Philly.
Philadelphia.
Carolina at Tampa. I'll go Tampa. Yep. Cleveland at Washington.
I'll take Washington.
I'm gonna go Cleveland in this one. Deshaun, I don't know what it's gonna be, but I'll go there. 49ers beat the Raiders.
Yes.
I think the Jets beat Seattle, even though it's in Seattle.
That could be a fascinating game.
Yep.
I'll go Jets.
Yep. And then, like I said, I'm picking Green Bay, but you can do whatever. So
Vikings, Packers at Lambeau. Pick the Packers. I don't know.
yeah, I'm just seeing if my picks will kind of work its way out. All right, final week.
Week
Now,
18.
this is going to be interesting because you might have teams resting.
Yes, but let's presume we don't know.
Minnesota at Chicago. I'll go Minnesota. Detroit at Green Bay might be a primetime game now, depending on how everything works out.
Gosh, I'll take Green Bay.
Okay. We've got Carolina at New Orleans. I'll go New Orleans. Giants at Philly. This is the big one here now. If Philly's got the 1 seed wrap up, do they rest?
They might.
That's what worries me. I'll still go Philly. And oh boy.
I'm taking the Giants.
Okay. Dallas at Washington.
Probably not a wrap up, but I'm going to take Dallas.
Okay. I'm going to take Dallas. Arizona at San Fran. I'll go San
Francisco.
Fran. Rams at Seattle. I'll go Seattle.
Yes.
All right, Lucas. So my picks. That it goes back to that Giants and Phillies game. If Philadelphia wins and everything else plays out, Green Bay's a 7 seed.
Really?
If the Giants win, Green Bay's not in it.
Does that mean it's Green Bay at Minnesota?
Yes.
Oh.
This is like the worst NFC playoffs then because it's Green Bay at Minnesota. You got Seattle at San Francisco. And then you got Dallas at Tampa. God.
Oh, wow. And the thing is, of all of those matchups, freaking Dallas Tampa Bay is going to get the highest profile one of all of them because it's the Cowboys versus Brady, even though that game's probably going to be a blowout.
You know what? If it came down to this, you know what? It's going to be reminiscent of 2010. Yeah. Green Bay got in because Deshaun Jackson with Philly got that punt return against the Giants.
Jeez. Here's what I've got. Philly 1, Minnesota 2, hosting the 7th seed Commies. 3rd seed San Francisco hosting the 6th seed Seattle. 4th seed Tampa Bay hosting the 5th seed Dallas.
Okay, so you're about the same.
It's just Green Bay. I have them finishing 8-9. I have Washington finishing 9-7-1, and the Giants are also 9-7-1. Well, if I have the Giants winning, now if I have the Giants losing, same thing.
Mm-hmm. All right. Oh boy.
So I don't quite have them getting over the hump. Plus, I
got some false hope running through my veins now. So never say never. Never say never. Hey, we can't lose this weekend. That's good. So all right.
I could do the Ron Buckley buy over the Packers thing. He always did that over the Vikings, though.
All right, we only got about a minute left here, Lucas. So, Bucks taking on the Kings tonight again. That's tip off at 7. Kings are actually not bad this year. 13-9.
Yeah,
Mike Brown got that team playing
they're
good.
a fun watch this season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Solid team. Again, DeAndre Fox playing better this year. They're clutch. They're good so far. We'll see how long it lasts, but maybe so.
Badgers picking up that big win against Maryland last night. Do you think the Badgers will finish in the top 5 in the Big Ten this year?
Top 5. I don't know if they get ranked. They'll get ranked at some point, but
I think if they beat Iowa this weekend, they'll get in the top 25.
Yeah, they're resilient enough. I think they do.
Because in the latest rankings, Iowa would have been 26. They just lost to Duke, though. So, but Wisconsin was also in the category of receiving votes. So, but big win for Illinois last night, too, over number 2 Texas. So, all right. I think that's about it. But yeah, so top 5. I'm just saying Purdue. That's what I was going to ask you. Purdue, Illinois, Indiana, maybe Maryland. Yeah, I think if they're going to be top 5, they'll be right at 5.
Yeah, I think
Wisconsin.
So. Makes sense. Oh, hey, did you shout out the Eau Claire, UW Eau Claire club rugby team?
No, Surveyor, where are you at on this thing? I did not. No. What is it? What is
National champions.
All right. Well, I'm saying Surveyor's our rugby guy, and he didn't even do that.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, Surveyor.
Women's rugby team. And the reason I kept getting these updates is because one of the players, I think, grew up across the street from my aunt down in Rushford, Minnesota. And so she'd be sending stuff like they were national champions. Like they did. Look it up. UW Eau Claire women's rugby team, the club rugby team. Right. National champions for the Blue Goals.
All right. Good stuff. DP and the Danuts, they're up next. We'll be back at it again tomorrow morning, just past 6 a.m. Festival Toys going on. Don't forget, stop on out, make some donations, or visit aroundthe715.com for some online donations.